We are live.
Hi, everyone.
Oh my gosh, Callie, quick on the trigger. Hello, everybody.
Hi, Callie.
I love it. I love it.
We are so excited to be live on Facebook and YouTube for the first time for Create With Us, which is cool because this is our 1 year anniversary, Jen.
I know. It's so exciting. We're getting wicked fancy.
I like that. Wicked fancy.
Only took us a year. Hello, everybody.
Hi, everyone.
So one thing we want to make sure we do, Kelly, when we answer questions is to read them out loud, just because people on Facebook aren't seeing the YouTube comments and vice versa.
Oh,
I meant to tell you that.
That's really good. Yeah, it's definitely new for us, but we've seen we have a lot of hellos from a lot of fun places. We have Milwaukee, we have Minnesota, the Netherlands, Maryland, Colorado.
Oh my gosh.
Someone from SoCal. And they're trying YouTube for the first time, which is awesome.
Yay.
A couple Californias. I am in a little bit of a different location today. I'm in Palm Desert, California, visiting my parents and my grandma. So someone's got a hello from Tampa. I went to middle school in Tampa. Bonsoir. Oh my goodness. Hello, everybody. It's so fun to see everybody from so many different places, yet we all get to be together doing something we all love, which is really cool.
I know. That is the whole concept of this Create With Us, is we wanted to be able to create with all of you guys, even if we can't be in person. And we also have Rebecca and Shari behind the scenes helping us answer your questions. So if you see any lawn fawn chatter, it's Rebecca and Shari helping us out. So thank you guys so much.
Yeah, thank you, Rebecca and Shari. I know Rebecca and I are usually in the same room, so it's weird to not be in the same place today. But by the next Create With Us, we'll be in the same room again.
Yeah. Well, if you guys are new to Create With Us, I'll just give you a quick little rundown. Kelly and I started these, like she mentioned, a year ago, last March. We decided because she and I weren't getting together to do in-person trade shows as much, and we missed each other, we thought it would be fun to get together and create cards, and of course, invite all of our closest lawn fawn friends, which means you guys. So we do these based on kind of the release schedule of Lawn Fawn. So we just had an awesome new release at the end of February, and it's a big release. So we're here today, March 12th live, and then we will be back April 8th. I think it's April 8th. It's a Friday.
It's a Friday. I'm going to check. I've got my calendar. Let me see.
Thank you, Kelly.
It's hard to remember. Yes, April 8th at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. So it's kind of fun because it's a different day. It's a nighttime class. So it's nice to be able to do them at different times so that depending on what your schedules are like, you might be able to catch one live. But the cool thing is we always do repost the replay so you can watch it at any time.
Yeah, the replay will always be available. And if you guys see below Kelly Marie and I in the grass, we have a web address, and that's the web address to be able to get the handout. You guys can download these ahead of time. It has pictures of the cards. It has a little bit of prep work. It has coloring guides, all kinds of information. You'll also be able to find all the previous Create With Us infos there as well. And then on Monday, we will be uploading the new information for Berry Rainy Day, which is our next one, which I'll just do a little peek of what we're going to create.
Yes, there's going to be a platform pop-up in that one too. So
yeah, I'm really excited to do a platform pop-up with everybody.
And we're asking to repeat the time for the one on the 8th. It's going to be 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. So that'll be the April 8th, Friday evening one.
And if you guys are creating along with us or just hanging out with us, that's totally okay, whichever you're doing. You guys can use the hashtag LFCreateWithUs, which is also down below in the grass when you're posting pictures. We love to see what you guys do create, or maybe you're just chilling on the couch with a kitty. That's a cool photo as well. And
we love a selfie, and we love a pet pic. So,
selfie, pet, bring it all on. And never feel like you have to apologize if you're using different products than we're using or you modified something. We just want to see you guys hanging out with us and hopefully creating with us.
Yes, exactly. The whole point is that we get to be together and be crafty and just get to hang out. And we're just excited about it. So we're gonna have a fun time.
All right. One more thing I just wanted to say before I flip the camera. All the Create With Us's kind of are an addition to online classes that I teach. So really quick, I have 2 upcoming online classes where one is Berry Fun and one is Rain or Shine. So we're using very similar products than what we're using today. But you get different coloring guides, even more ideas, more techniques, more tips and tricks. A lot of people who have been taking the online classes with me over the past couple of years, can't believe it's been that long, are letting me know that they've really seen their coloring improve and their card making. They're really happy they're using their stuff more. And I just love hearing all of that. So if you have fun with us today, definitely check out my online classes as well, because I would love for you to join me in those.
Yes, and we've got the links to those next 2 classes that Jen's teaching in Facebook, and I'm guessing we'll get those links going up on YouTube as well. And Jen's classes are awesome. You will have so much fun in them. So you guys definitely have to check that out. Oh, yep, and the links are going up on YouTube as well in the comments.
Just switching things around with our new software, making sure I know what I'm doing over here.
Lots of people saying they love the classes, so that's awesome.
Oh, awesome. Yay. Thank you guys so much. All right, you guys, we are going to have some very fun. We are going to be making these 2 cards today. And I just wanted to point out, was it last month? No, January, when we did our last Create With Us, everybody was asking to do another slimline card. So I heard you. We're doing a slimline card. And people also asked to use liquid stardust. So in April, we're going to be using some liquid stardust. I actually have some really fun techniques I want to share with you guys with that. So thank you for those suggestions. They inspired me to create some fun stuff to share with you guys. All right, so we are going to dive right into coloring. And I mentioned on the handout, we want to have all of our images pre-stamped and die cut because we just don't have time for that. I mean, I would love to hang out with you all weekend, but I'm sure you guys might have some other things you want to do this weekend as well. Thank you, Kelly. So in the handout, I always show the prep work, what to pre-stamp, pre-die cut. And then I also shared a little trick that I learned from my crafty friend Mona years ago, is to attach your pre-die cut images to some low tack tape. Some people in my classes have kind of modified it. They're using old Cricut mats, or they use the die cut cardstock. They put their pieces back into the cardstock and put tape on the back. There's lots of ways to be able to hold on to those little images easier as we are coloring. I'm going to be using Copic markers today. I always share a swatch list, and this is good if you have Copics and you want to just pull the exact colors, or maybe you don't have the exact colors. You can see the shade that I'm using. Or if you're using a completely different coloring medium, which is totally okay, you can at least see the colors that we're using and maybe match them up with what you guys are going to use today. My approach to Copic coloring is pretty simple. I tend to use 2, sometimes 3 colors. But when I do my Create With Us coloring guides, I always try to come up with different color schemes for my online classes as well. So you'll get even more coloring ideas. Awesome. Yay, yay, yay.
Yes, and we've got some links being posted, direct link to the handout so that you guys can go see that if you haven't done that already. And somebody also mentioned if we could have our previous classes on YouTube. Unfortunately, we can't since we didn't go through YouTube in the first place. But the good thing is going forward, they'll both be on YouTube and Facebook, which is awesome. And for now, even if you don't have a Facebook account, I'm pretty sure you can click a link and just watch it even without an account. So that's the nice thing as well.
Yeah. So we're going to be coloring a lot of strawberries today. These are the coloring guides that were included in the handout. So I'm going to start by explaining the process of coloring the strawberries, and then we're just going to color all the strawberries the same. And then I thought that way we can kind of chit chat and stuff before we move on to coloring other things. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm a child of the very early 80s, and strawberry shortcake was my jam. I had the comforter, I had the metal oval trash barrel in my room growing up.
You had like good strawberry shortcake swag.
Yeah, I was the only child and only grandchild, so I was not lacking in the present department. But I also remember the little doll that you would like smell her, and you could literally smell the sweetness. Like I can smell it right now talking about it.
Oh my gosh, I know. I loved her so much. And I had the little Custard the cat. It was my favorite little toy. I've actually looked on eBay for like an original one. It was like $100. It was crazy because I loved this tiny little pink polka dotted cat. It's just adorable.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So as I was coloring all these strawberries, I was reminiscent. And I think I actually was strawberry shortcake one year. My mom made the costume and I had a red yarn wig. And anyways, I'm going down the rabbit hole real fast. So I just pulled out 2 red markers. These are my favorite go-to red combo. I use them during the holidays as well because it's a little bit of a warmer red combo. So I'm going to be using R29 and R35. R29 is the darker of the reds. And I'm going to color one trio of strawberries first. And excuse me, I just trimmed my nails, so picking up things today is going to be really hard. Oops, and I'm hitting my camera. I'm going to color one of these trios of strawberries first to give you guys the idea behind how I'm going to color all the strawberries. And then we can chat about fun things, right? So starting with the R29, I'm going to come down from the greens of the strawberry. And there's so many ways of coloring things, you guys. I always just pick where my shadow is going to be. I don't worry about where the light source is or, you know, what type of year it is or season it is or what time of day. I just am like, okay, I'm going to put the shadow always coming down from the greens and just go with it. And as long as you're consistent on your project, it's going to look wicked cute no matter what. So you can see here, this is R29. I came down from the greens, and then that little strawberry that's on the ground or kind of at an angle, I did a little shadow under that one as well. Then I go in with my R35, which is my lighter of the 2 reds. And I'm just concentrating right on the edge of the R29, dabbing the marker continuously to get the 2 colors to blend together so I don't see a line from that previous marker. Okay. And then once that is done, I am going to fill in the bottom of the strawberry with 1 layer of R35. And I've been seeing the design team's been rocking the strawberry coloring. Another fun thing is you could add in like some yellow or even some really light pinks to kind of show, I mean, if you've ever been strawberry picking, they never all look perfect, right? And that's a really fun way to add dimension as well.
And I have to say that this red color combo, it's made me switch my red color combo I've been using for like 15 years because I love it so much.
Oh my gosh, I love it. You were enabled.
I was enabled, and now my R35 marker is like, thank you for using me.
Right? It's like, hey, nice to see you.
You don't always have to use R24, Kelly.
Right. No. So here is my cute little trio of strawberries, and that is how I'm going to go through right now and color all of my strawberries, all the single ones, even the ones that are in a row here. So if you guys have questions, definitely put them in the chat. Kelly and I can see both YouTube and Facebook chats, and I will kind of keep an eye as I'm coloring. And now we can just chat for a little bit. I just thought kind of getting that out of the way. And
I saw that Shari was also strawberry shortcake, and I've seen a picture of her costume. It's adorable. A lot of people want to see you guys in your costumes, and and then we've also got some people that had a lot of definitely a lot of people who love strawberry shortcake, and someone had lemon meringue, and oh my gosh, and there was the blueberry pie one.
Yes, I remember the blueberry.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I don't know.
Someone else who has an Olive and June manicure as well.
So confession, you guys, I cheated. This is actually a shellac gel manicure for those of you that follow my Olive and June stories. I'm hosting an event next week with over 200 people, and we're like moving out like so many boxes. I just didn't want to deal with having to redo my manicure. So I did a shellac. So this is not Olive and June. I can't tell you the colors because I don't know them, but it's cute and teal and ready for Crop on the Cape.
Yes, so Jen is hosting an event on Cape Cod. This event has been around for over 20 years, which is incredible. And of course, it had a little hiatus and was virtual for a bit. And so I know you're very excited about getting to do this event again in person.
It's going to be so fun to be in person again. I'm going to be teaching my first in-person class Friday night, like a week, next Friday.
Oh my gosh.
And the first time in 2 years. Like, it's so crazy. So crazy.
I bet that's going to feel weird, Yeah,
it's going to be so weird. I don't even know. Like, I have to like wrap my brain around that again.
Yeah, someone says that they miss hearing your voice at Paper Craft Clubhouse in Connecticut.
Aww, yes. Paper Craft Clubhouse is going to be at Crop on the Cape selling all kinds of awesome products. So if anybody is local to Cape Cod, or even honestly an hour drive, you can pop in and shop the vendors and come say hi. And there are still some seats available in some of the classes, and people can sign up for classes only. So if you're interested in any of that, definitely send me a little message and you're more than welcome. So yeah,
I'm like 3,000 miles away, or I'd be there.
Someday, maybe someday. I think I'm going to convince Shari to come someday. But Libby is going to be there from Hero Arts, and Julia is going to be there from ThermoWeb. So I'm so excited. So excited.
Oh my gosh, amazing people.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Callie says she feels like she lived under a rock growing up. She didn't have any strawberry shortcake.
Oh gosh, I feel
we're gonna see if we can have to find some and send some to your daughter, Callie.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I feel like it's all coming back. So Callie, you could just buy some for your daughter and just live through her.
Yeah, and then just get to play with it. That's been my like most fun thing, is like I really think Miles toys are really fun. And so like sometimes it's just me playing, but then I build things out of his Duplo Legos, and he's always like, "No, Mama, apart."
I love when you send us pictures of how you rainbow all the things.
I put his toys in rainbow order all the time. He's like, "No, Mama, no, that's not where the toys go." But I snap a quick shot before he undoes it.
So I'm just showing you guys up close so far. I've gotten my strawberries in my, that my mice are carrying. By the way, this little guy that's eating them out, eating the strawberry, I think he is so cute and so funny. And he just, for some reason, reminds me of my cat, Gus, because he wants to eat all the time. So now I'm going to move on to my 2 rows of strawberries.
Which I actually started those, and I forgot to color the little strawberries with the mice. I got to go back and do those. I had started on this guy here and forgot about my little mice. I know my favorite with the little guy eating is that in the stamp set, there's like a little phrase that says burp. And so I like,
I know, I love that.
It's so cute.
I'm like, I always use that. I don't know if I did this time. I don't think I did on these cards.
I know. I realized after, I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't use it in the intro video, and I couldn't believe it because it's one of my favorite parts of the whole set.
Well, guess what? We can add it today. I say we do it.
I say we do it.
Because we can always switch up the cards. They don't have to be exactly how I made them, what feels like 100 years ago.
I know, it's crazy. It's so funny how that we have so much pre-planning for all these things that it's exciting when we actually get to make these cards.
Yeah, I was looking at them yesterday and I was like, what did I do again? What are we learning? I kind of
it looks like Dee is similar to me, that she likes playing with her daughter's Legos maybe more than her. I'm the same way. Like I play with like his ball drop toys and I think it's so fun.
Oh my gosh. If I had kids, I would totally like if I had kids that like to play with Barbies, I would have totally been all over that.
You know, I was never a Barbie person. I was always more of like a My Little Pony girl, you know?
I never really got My Little Ponies. One of my really good friends that I grew up with, her name was Jen as well. So I was Jenny Lee and she was Jenny. She always had My Little Ponies, but I think being an only child, like I just loved Barbies because I just remember like coming up with my own stories, again, coming up with stories. And I would just play in my, room by myself, talking out loud, like doop, 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 playing with the Barbies. I just remember hours and hours and hours.
Oh, and someone wanted us to repeat the red combo. It's R29 and R35. And it's also in the handout that you can download from the site. And you can actually see the link there in the grass at the bottom, or there's also been the link in the comments as well.
I'm going over to Gail's house to play with her granddaughter and their Barbies.
Someone wants to know how far the Cape is from Provincetown.
So Provincetown is on Cape Cod. And so Provincetown is at the very tip of Cape Cod. And so this is Cape Cod right here, the arm off of Massachusetts. And so Provincetown is up by my fist and I'm like at my bicep where I live and kind of where Crop on the Cape is. So it's about I would say about a 45-minute drive in the off season. Summertime, it's much longer because of traffic. So hopefully that. Did they mean Provincetown or Providence?
I'm assuming Provincetown.
Okay.
I think so. Hopefully I didn't get that messed up. And then somebody says they just hopped on. Hopefully they didn't miss much. Not at all. We just started coloring strawberries. So you're good. You can definitely catch up for sure.
Just coloring all the strawberries.
Oh, their sons were born in the 80s. It was all Ghostbusters and Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers. Yes, with my brother, a lot of Transformers. And then the Transformers and the My Little Ponies and like Ninja Turtles, everybody hung out together. So it was like a 1980s fun party.
I played with all of those boy toys with my stepbrother. Yep, did it all. I don't know. The 80s had really good toys.
It really did. I don't know.
I mean,
we'll see. I'll find out as Miles gets older.
Yeah.
There might be good ones now. I don't know. I'll find out.
Yeah, I know. I probably shouldn't say that because I have no idea what toys are today.
I don't know either. I only know about Legos.
I just assume our toys were better, but they're all coming back. So they must have been pretty amazing, right?
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. Jody says that she bought her granddaughter vintage strawberry shortcake stuff and it still smells like the strawberries. Oh my gosh.
Goodness. That's so cool. So and then someone's mentioned that they got their Lawn Fawn mug and they have their markers in it. That's awesome. We do that in the office too. We always have like all of our glue tubes and scissors and stuff in our mugs. And someone says they love giant sentiments, and we are already working on the next ones for fall winter. So we're excited about those.
Don't feel old, Melissa. Chris is 13.
People wish they wish they could be close to Cape Cod, that they'd love to visit it one day.
Aw, well, bucket list. Add it to your bucket list. It's definitely worth visiting, I think. It's beautiful. All right. I got all my strawberries done. How are you doing over there, Kelly?
I'm almost done, too. I was trying to read through some comments, but I'm doing my last row of strawberries.
All right. I am going to start through the greens. And then that way, if people are ready, they can. And just so you know, you guys, and I mentioned this in my online classes too, if you feel like, we're going a little too fast, or maybe, you want to catch up again, you'll be able to watch the replay. So if you miss anything, you can always go back and catch that as well. But we try to keep it at a good pace for everybody. So I'm going to start the greens, and even though the greens are really tiny, I was crazy and used 3 markers, which is not my norm. But I'm going to be using YG09, YG05, and YG01. And I just thought I would just, again, kind of like what we did before, I'll show you how I did it on the tops of the strawberries, and I'll show you one leaf as well. And then I will we'll just color and continue to chat about the 80s. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Well, somebody just mentioned Rainbow Bright, Thundercats, and She-Ra. So the Princess of Power.
Oh my gosh. And Labyrinth. Oh
my gosh.
Okay. I love the 80s. All right. So I'm going to take my YG09. I'm going to do a couple things and then I'll bring it up to the camera for you guys to see. But very similar to how we did the strawberries is I'm just coming down from the top. Oops, one second.
And Jen, are you going to start, where are you starting on your greens? On the smaller strawberries or on the row? On the smaller strawberries?
On both, actually. I'm going to kind of just show what I'm doing. So what I did with the greens, like the stems, is I just came down from the top and I kind of dab a little bit into the like scallop part of the greens, okay? Because something that I've enjoyed really doing is mixing YG09 and YG05 essentially together. I think it makes like the perfect green. So that's what I did with that. And then on the leaves, I'm just coming down pretty much from the top again. Sometimes when there's a strawberry overlapped, I will, basically put the YG09 next to the strawberry that's overlapping. And then the next thing I'm going to do is take my YG05 and at the edge of this YG09 that's coming down on the stem of the strawberry and on the leaf, I'm again dabbing and combining the two colors, and I'll bring it up for you guys. Just one second. Oops. Again, I really just love mixing these two colors. And so if you're using alcohol-based markers, the beauty of it is saturating the cardstock is how you get the colors to blend together. So you guys can kind of see that and see the stems of the strawberries. There's very little white left. There's a little bit more white left on the leaves. And so what I'm going to do is take the YG01 and I'm dabbing it on the tips of the strawberry stems, kind of giving them those, like, again, I'm thinking going to a strawberry patch where, the leaves kind of sun in, are in the sun all day. So they start to change a little bit. And then I'm also doing the tip of the leaves in the line. So I'm just going to show you guys up close again. Again, if you only have two greens, totally okay. I was just having fun. So sometimes I get a little carried away.
It's really pretty.
Yeah.
And another thing too, I know you had mentioned like you can do the strawberries with like a little bit of that light yellow or the light pink. And if you take a look at our blog, a lot of the design team did lots of different styles of strawberries. So you can kind of take the same coloring tips here, but maybe add a lighter pink in or move some things around. So you can take a look at those as well. And we have some questions, Jen, while you start coloring those. Someone says, do you emboss your images to make the stamps so dark?
I do not. This is actually just stamped once with the Lawn Fawn jet black ink. This is literally the ink pad I use every single day. I've been Copic coloring for over 12 years now. And when we first started using Copics in the stamping world, all that was really out there was the Memento ink pad. And it worked with alcohol-based markers, but it was never really crisp and super black. So I didn't love it. I was always like, something left to be desired. But this Lawn Fawn jet black is super crisp, super black. It works with all alcohol-based markers, but it also works with watercoloring. So I often use it when I'm stamping. And those of you guys that follow me, I watercolor with distress inks a lot. I use this pad for almost everything. So
it's definitely like a nice go-to. And if for some reason you ever struggle to get an image is maybe as dark as you would like, another idea is if you use something like the Misty, a stamp positioning tool, I don't happen to have one here, but because I'm not in my main place, but maybe Jen can show hers. But if you can always double stamp it. So you stamp it once and then you would ink it back up and then stamp it again. And that would give you also a darker image too. So that's another option as well. I also usually just stamp mine once because I don't like, if I'm stamping images like this, I usually don't use the Misty, but Rebecca on our team always uses the Misty and she likes to double stamp. So it's definitely like a personal preference thing, but that's something you could try as well. And then Raquel said there are Lunfon mugs where, so we'll definitely have both, that's on YouTube, but we'll have it in both Facebook and YouTube. We'll link to the mugs and it's really cute. And I'm really excited because we're working on some different mug designs that are really adorable. And so those will come out either in summer or fall, winter. We're still figuring out the timing of everything, but I'm really excited for those two. But the Lunfon mug that we have now is, it's got the Lunfon logo and it says smile every day on the other side. It's super cute, which is awesome. And I'm going through some comments now as we color our greens.
Awesome. I was just going to pop in and say real quick, if you're new to Create with us, you guys, not only do you get to come and hang out with Kelly and I and maybe create a card or two, but Kelly pretty much always gives away secrets during these little get-togethers. So they're always fun to be here because then you kind of know what's coming up in Lawn Fawn world. So just saying.
We also get suggestions, and someone asked for fall magic messages, which could be pretty fun. So I'm writing that down right now too. So I just got a pen to write that down. I'm going to go through some of our other, and somebody is joining from Strawberry Point, Alaska. So this is,
oh my gosh, that's so good.
Oh my goodness. But someone's looking forward to your berry class, and they're dusting off their Copics.
I saw somebody ask, is it best to condition new stamps before using them? If so, what is the best way? So I think this is a personal preference. Personally, I know there's a lot of different suggestions out there, but really the only way that I condition stamps is I ink it up and I stamp it on scratch paper, not my final project. See how it comes out. If it doesn't come out super crisp, I'll ink it up again, stamp it on scratch paper. If it came out crisp, I'm like, okay, it's ready to go into the main show now, and then I'll use it. But that's just me. I know some people like to stamp it in Versamark, which is like a watermark ink pad. There's stamp conditioner, like not erasers, but kind of like erasers out there. But really just for me, I just find the more you stamp with your stamps, the better that they work.
Yeah, a stamped stamp is a happy stamp, essentially. So I always just stamp it off just like Jen, like 1 or 2 times on the side. Another thing you could do too is sometimes I'll open up, let me show you the stamp set. I'll open up my whole stamp set like this. And then I'll just take my chamois and I'll wet it just a little bit. And I'll just go across the whole thing, like so I'm not even having to peel them off. And that's another way. Yeah. And then you just do it all at once and it just kind of gets them ready to go. But just like anything, like even like a brand new ink pad, you kind of have to stamp it off a little time. It's just kind of how everything is. A brand new glue tube, you just kind of have to like put it off on the side a little bit because it's just brand new and it needs to be used, but then it'll be perfect. But you shouldn't have to do anything special for that. Somebody just finished a class at Palette and Paper and picked up today's supplies, which is awesome.
I love that. That's so great.
Oh my gosh. And somebody bought an arcade for their 40th birthday with all of these like old 80s video games, which I think is so fun.
Oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. I wanted to just say real quick, if you are interested in taking my online classes, and again, if you have the supplies for today's class, you have pretty much everything for my online class, and you can always substitute things. But 2 stores actually make kits for my classes. So Scrappy Chic is located in Michigan. I know they're almost out of kits. So definitely, if that's something that you want to do, actually a lot of people who have been signing up for classes with me, they buy all the products, but then they also buy a kit to just spoil themselves. And I love that idea. And then the Paper Crafters Workshop is up in Canada. And so they're shipping kits out to Canadians. So, and again, I have all of this information on my website. So I'm just showing you guys the row of strawberries. This is where I put the shadow of the YG09, just so you guys can see that if you want to. But I'm pretty much just coming down from the top, or I'm just right on the edge of the strawberries where they're overlapping.
And I'm going to go through and answer some more questions. Somebody asked about using colored pencils. You definitely can use colored pencils. The great thing about this coloring guide is, yes, we've listed the markers that we use, but really all this is a dark medium light, right? So you could follow the same thing and get out a dark red colored pencil and more of like a corally red color pencil and do the same exact idea. So that's why Jen has them swatched this way. So you can just see the shades and you can ignore the R29, R3 and just look through your colored pencils and see what kind of matches and do the same exact coloring. Same thing with like Spectrum Noir markers, or there's like those, I don't even know how to say it, like the Artisan markers. There's so many options out there. The Zig markers, you can do all of that with the same coloring guide. And then somebody also asked if there's going to be a summer release. Yes, there is a summer release. It's May 19th, but it's already done. So that's why we're talking about doing fall winter, because we have to design really ahead of time to be able to get everything manufactured. It's very confusing because I don't know that I'm really ready for Christmas yet, but I have to be. So, because that's our world. So we're always a little ahead, but there is definitely a summer release and it's so cute and you guys are going to love it. But that's not all the way until May 19th. So the fun thing is we get to have fun and have a ton of inspiration for the spring release right now, which is what we're doing here in this Create With Us. There'll be another Create With Us April 8th, where we'll be featuring Very Rainy Day. And then in both March and April, there are also inspiration weeks where there'll be new intro videos, new projects by the design team. So we're going to keep showing all this inspiration for the spring release. And then come May, we'll have some really exciting new stuff then. So it's pretty fun.
We just want to make sure that you guys have a ton of inspiration. And, you know, we know how busy everybody is. And sometimes you don't want to think of your own ideas or whatever. You just want to sit down and create something. And so with all of these awesome resources, hopefully this will kind of take the guesswork out for you. I saw a quick question, somebody asking if my online classes are on YouTube as well. And they're not. They're in private Facebook groups. So each class has its own private Facebook group, which has been really kind of fun. They've become their own little communities. I have people that take the classes live, but then I also have people that take them after the fact and still chime in the group and get questions answered. And so yeah, they're in Facebook groups right now.
And then I have some other questions. The colored pencils, I saw some more. Shari has done some really beautiful videos on YouTube using colored pencils, and hopefully we can link to those because they're really awesome. I know we have a tendency to use Copics a lot because those happen to be my favorite, but we will make an effort to try to do some more colored pencils out there, and Shari is so amazing at them. So I'm sure that she would love to incorporate that into a video coming up. I
just want to interrupt you real quick, Kelly, only because Shari and I were talking this week. She and I are going to be hosting another Lawn Fawn class in May. And I know that she is helping answer comments, and so I know she's hearing me. But maybe in our online class, she could color with colored pencils and I could color with Copics. And so we can do maybe a coloring guide for both. Wink, wink.
I love that. We have someone asking if there's sweatshirts coming. I know we keep saying that we're still working on them, but we're not used to doing clothing. So we're still trying to figure that out, but we are working on them, I promise. We also have a question here about some tips of how to care for your Copic markers.
Yeah, so I have literally next to me, I have my Copics in, they're in a holder in my Raskog wheelie cart. And maybe Rebecca and Shari could share my Copic 101 blog post so you can kind of see them. But 90%, or I would probably say 80% of my markers are probably 12 years old. I've been using the same colors over and over, which also makes it easier for me to color. This is why I tend to use Copics, because it's quick and easy for me. I know the go-to combos I want to do. And so some tips to taking care of your markers, obviously, is, when you're actively coloring with them, you don't need to recap them. I do just out of habit, but you could leave all 3 greens uncapped while you're coloring all of your greens. That will not harm them. But when you're storing them for a while, you definitely want to recap them. Copic markers are refillable. So whenever you feel your marker dragging, or you feel like you might, oh, that looks so cute, Kelly.
Yeah, or someone was asking to show the greens again. So this is with the YG09, and then Jen has hers more colored in.
And so if you ever feel your markers dragging or you feel you're pressing hard to get the color out, you definitely want to be re-inking your markers. And then the other thing is, let me see if I can find, I'm trying to think of a problem child marker that I might have. Sometimes over time, your markers become really messy inside. I was trying to think of one that is, so you can kind of see this one here. There's a lot of ink in the cap and around the marker. Cleaning this up with rubbing alcohol. You don't want to really touch isopropyl alcohol to the tip of your marker, but all the plastic area using Q-tips and towels, cleaning that out will help your markers stay nice longer. But I will also just do like a little shout out. This fall, I'm going to be teaching a Copic coloring class online. You are not going to need specific stamps to be part of the class. You're just going to want, I would say, Copic markers or alcohol-based markers to be part of the class.
And then here is what mine looks like before the YGO1. So this is just with the YGO5 added.
I'm going to put you on the big screen for a second, Kelly, so you can see, since I can do that fancy stuff.
So now you see how like the little, just little white areas there. And now I'm going to add the lightest green. So I've got my dark green and my medium green on there. And then I'll add the next one. And then I know another Copic tip, because this has recently happened to me with a couple of markers. And Rebecca, well, because we both like, what is wrong with this marker? We refilled it, you know, because it kind of seemed like it was dry. And then it just like acts crazy and it just was weird. Just change the tips, and you can buy the tips in like a little bag. They're not too expensive. And so I just have a bag of them, and you can actually like pull it out and then replace it. And that'll usually fix the marker as well. So if like you've refilled it, you've done all the things and there's like nothing's working, try replacing the tip, because that often, I think over time they just get kind of messed up, you know? So I haven't had to do that on all my markers, but just a couple recently. And these are markers that I bought, you know, 10 years ago. So it takes a long time, but eventually, especially my most loved, like my R29, my like E34 is always, it's like every critter, I just do E34, you know? So it's like, I had to replace them. So if you ever have that issue, try replacing the nib and see if that fixes it.
So I saw somebody asked about storing horizontal or vertical. I will mention, I've seen some chatter in Facebook groups where they've seen on the Copic website where it says to store them horizontal. I'll say 100 years ago when I went through Copic certification, that was not taught to us. And I have been storing mine vertical for probably 9 years now, and I do not have a problem. So I think because they're alcohol based and the alcohol is like suspended within the mechanism inside the barrel, I think vertical and horizontal is fine. Hello, Kelly. We were talking about crop on the Cape. Can't wait to see you.
All right.
So Kelly. Sorry.
I've got another, Mindy says that her Copics have dust on them. What have you been using to color with, Mindy? I want to know, because your coloring is always so incredible. And so I love hearing that. I'm writing down when people ask for things, I'm writing it down. All right. And then here, let's see. Someone wants to try the jet black. I'm a little behind on comments, so I'm trying to cut. As you have tips on cutting the dies apart and getting rid of sharps. So I know there's a lot of pieces there. Our dies are made here in the US, so they've got these connector pieces on them. We have little wire snips. You can also buy them at a hardware store as well. And just get the wire snip really close to the bottom of the die and then snip there, and that should be good. Hopefully that works pretty well for you. You know, so funny. Somebody asked for a Simply Celebrate Fall, and we were just talking about that because we've always had that on our list, and we kind of always forget to do it. But I think a Simply Celebrate Fall would be fun. A little fun thing is there is a Simply Celebrate coming out for summer that's a little bit of a different twist on it, and it's by far my favorite set of the whole release, and it's really cute. So I think you guys are going to love it.
Real quick about the cutting your dies, because I'm actually working on a video for the peeps that are part of Crop and Create. I actually was just working on that this morning. But what you want to do is make sure you cut really, really close to one edge of the die. So that'll leave a longer tail on your other edge. You don't want to snip in the middle, because then it's really hard to get all that extra connector piece off. And when I snip, I don't just go like straight down, like ka-chunk. I like start to go down to cut it, and I like twist my hand. I was actually watching myself on the video, and I'm like, oh, I really do twist it a lot. And that will help kind of just break it away, and things don't fly away as much. So the video that I did is with the exclusive products for Crop and Create. But I'll try to remember to do another video, because a lot of people ask that for my classes as well, how to cut apart the dies. So next time I get a full set, maybe with Summer, I will.
Yeah, maybe we can do it as a reel or something, and then we can.
Oh yeah, that would be a great idea. I'll do that. Thanks.
So Callie mentioned, we were talking about stamp conditioning earlier, that she started rubbing her fingers on the stamps because she saw me do it in a video, and I also always do that too. So I like, especially if I don't want to take out the chamois and clean it, I just go like this with my fingers. And there's something about that always makes a stamp well. I don't know what it is, but I just always kind of rub them, and then they stamp really well too.
Good ideas.
Somebody wants an ink to match the barn red cardstock. We can work on that. I'm gonna have Rebecca write that one down, because she handles creating all of our cool
No more inks. No more inks. I don't have room. Just kidding.
No, there's no room. Oh, someone says they're watching Tim. I know Tim is awesome. He's doing a live today. Okay, let's see. I know we love Tim Holtz products so much. His inks, the Distress Oxides, are like my new favorites. I love them so much.
Yeah, I can't live without Distress products.
Somebody wants to eat strawberries.
Ew. All right, I am finishing up my greens, and I feel like I was talking a lot, so I feel like I wasn't going too fast. So I'm going to talk about the mice. So for the mice, we're going to use W4 and W2. I wanted them to be gray mice, but I wanted them to be fairly soft and not super dark. In class, in my online class, we're going to do brown mice. Again, just trying to give as many different color combos as possible. So whenever I do critters, I know people often struggle with where to put the shadow. Like I mentioned in the beginning, I do not worry about light sources or what time of day or any of that. I pretty much just pick a side and then also do crevices. So in this case, the little mouse in the adorable overalls is facing the right. So I'm going to shadow his left. You tend to not want to shadow his face, because that's kind of a focal point. So because he's facing the right, I'm going to shadow the left. And then the other two mice are facing the left, so I'm going to shadow the right. So I keep it real simple. I do one side and crevices. These guys are really small, so there's not as much crevice shadowing happening. But when I say crevices, I mean, under chins, hairlines, armpits, and crotches. Just to be honest.
I always look for curves. So I always like, if there's a curve, I add a shadow. I'm the same as you, Jen. I don't worry about light sources. If you love to think about where the light source is, that's awesome.
Totally
that
okay.
Confuses me. So I just do the same thing as what Jen does. If you're nervous about Copic coloring, especially critters, the mice are a really great place to start, because they're really little. And so it's pretty easy to just use 2 markers and get a really great look with them. So the mice is a really good place to start with that. And as you're doing that, you can always interrupt me, Jen, but I'm going to answer some more questions, but please interrupt me when you've got
I just want to say one quick thing. Grays and browns are very forgiving. So that's why coloring critters and coloring mice, like grays and browns, are really easy to blend in the Copic world. So they're a great place to start. And I'm just going to show my shadows, and I'll leave this up for a second. Go ahead, Kelly.
Okay, so someone's asking if there's a new tiny gift box character coming out. There is in summer, which I'm excited about. Someone's waiting for the intro for the Llama Goat gift box, and we will get that guy going soon as well. Shari and I are going to be working on intro videos, Shari, Rebecca, and I soon. And yeah, and then Shari was mentioning that yes, she's going to be able to do some awesome colored pencil uses.
Yay.
Someone says they're still trying to figure out the platform pop-up. Definitely check out the intro video. We go through it really nice and slow on that. And the April 8th Create With Us will have a platform pop-up in it as well, which is really great too.
And both of my spring classes have it. So like so many times to practice and yeah.
And when is your berry class?
It is the first Sunday in April. I want to say that's April 3rd. I meant to actually write the dates down before we went live. I apologize. Let me look at my calendar real quick. It's right here. Yeah. Yep. April 3rd is Berry Fun. And then Rain or Shine is April 16th. And again, you don't have to be live. You will have access to replays, and you'll still be able to ask me questions. So don't worry if you have other plans.
Also, if you ever see an older class of gens that you're like, oh, I wish I could have taken that one. You actually can. You can still do the older classes and watch the videos, which is really great too.
Yep.
And then we've got some more questions. What paper? Both Jen and I like to use the Nina brand Solar White 80-pound white cardstock. Lawn Fawn sells that cardstock as our just white cardstock. You can see it on our site, and we'll have Rebecca and Shari link that. But if you happen to have a local paper warehouse, you can actually buy the big reams of it, and that's a really good way to get it. And it's the Nina brand 80-pound Solar White. It's by far my favorite for stamping and coloring. I just love it. So people mentioning that they had to replace their nibs on theirs too. So I'm glad I'm not the only one. We have somebody mentioning a Quokka set, and I know Mindy wants a Quokka set too. So I'm writing this down because we've been hearing Quokka for a while, and they are just adorable. They're so cute. They you don't even have to make them. We don't have to draw them cute. You just draw them exactly how they look. Oh no, someone bought a refill that ended up being kind of the wrong color from them, and it didn't match. I do think it's worth writing the folks at Copic and letting them know
yeah.
they can get you a correct refill for your markers. I think that's really good
because Copics are artist grade markers, so there's many reasons why they are a little bit pricier maybe than other alcohol-based markers on the market. But one thing is, like a W2 is the same exact gray now as it was 12 years ago when I got my W2. So if you're having an issue, I would definitely reach out to them.
Yes. And a lot of people have been asking for some different sets. I'm writing down all of your, since someone's also mentioning that her husband uses a Dremel tool to get rid of the little bits when they're snipping apart their dies. So that's a good idea too.
I'll also just mention if you guys have suggestions for sets, we love hearing them, but you also can email that to info@lawnfawn.com as well, because that helps them kind of collect them as well.
And a lot of times people write in and we make it. So if there's something you would love, definitely, put comments here or email in, because we want to create things that you guys love. So we love hearing suggestions.
Chris asked, where can we purchase replacement nibs for Copics? I would say wherever you're getting your Copic markers, they should be able to get them for you. I know that Papercraft Clubhouse is my local store, even though it's in Connecticut and 2 hours away. And Tracy always orders what I need for Copic nibs. And then I also know Simon Says Stamp carries them. So wherever your Copic source is, I think they should be able to get them for you.
And I noticed that Shari was linking to a bunch of colored pencils videos. So you can see that the Lawn Fawn account is linking to those, which is really great.
Awesome.
Someone says that they cut their dies in a deep container so the metal doesn't fly. I do the same thing. I cut them into my trash can. And someone loves the new Rainforest ink. Someone says they're a stamp person that's new to die cutting. It's like a new hobby. I agree. It's like, sometimes I'm in a die cut mood. Sometimes I'm in a stamping mood, you can just kind of go back and forth.
So I'm going to color my mice, the overalls. And so I'm going to be using B97 and B34. So I'm going to go ahead and do the shadow with B97, and I'll bring it up to the camera so you guys can see, but then I'll go into just, blending it out with the B34.
And then someone says they love the Tiny Friends series and they want to know if there's a list of all of them. There is a collection link, and hopefully Jen and Shari can link that. If you go to any of the Tiny Friends sets and you kind of scroll on where all our wording is, there's always a link to, like, we have love doing collections. So we have like a Tiny Friends collection. We have a Pretty Flowers collection. We have like all these different Giant Sentiments collection, and you can click those and see related items, which is really nice.
So one thing when I'm doing a shadow, especially on a little area like the mice overalls here, you really just need a very little bit of dark. You don't need a lot. It's kind of like that theory, a little bit goes a long way. Yeah, I saw Tiffany was answering somebody's question, possibly about where to start for your collection of markers. I do have a Copic 101 post on my website, which I do have linked on the handout for today's class. And I share with you guys kind of my top 50 colors to start with. And many people have told me over the years that they found that helpful. I share my favorite 2-color blends. And then I'll just let you know, as people take online classes with me, I may use different colors, but they've been slowly building up their marker collection by those suggestions instead of like blindly purchasing them. That can kind of be tricky sometimes.
And what's nice about a Copic marker collection too is, like, I've been building mine up for, I don't know, 14 years or something. So
yeah,
you don't have to get them. I actually found someone actually at the Lawn Fawn office was actually garage sailing and found someone selling like a massive amount of them. I think they knew what they were. They were just kind of selling this huge group of them. So she bought them, and then we all kind of bought the markers from her. So I got a bunch at a garage sale. You can look on eBay listings. You could go to your local store and see what they have, and you can slowly build that up. You don't need that many colors to make things look beautiful, as you can see here with the colors that we're using. There's a really, really great question here, and it says that she finds it hard to get inspired to make general cards and not for someone specific. Could we give some advice so she can use more of her stamp sets?
So I'll just jump in because I have an idea. I think sometimes when I don't know where to start, it's sometimes because I have too many supplies. And I know that sounds a little like, you're the Janabler. You want us to have all the supplies. But I would just try to minimize whatever you're going to work with. So obviously that doesn't mean get rid of all your supplies, but only pull a few things onto your table. Like one main stamp set that's going to be your imagery, and maybe something that's going to be your sentiments, and then create as many cards as you can think of. And the other thing I'll just say is I recently shared on the Lawn Fanatics Challenge blog is this set of thank you cards, and I just changed up the color scheme, and it ended up being, rainbow. Like, so there was a pink card, an orange card, a yellow card, and so forth. Once you come up with a design for maybe a thank you or even a hello, make multiples of those and just play with different color combos, and don't feel like you always have to reinvent the wheel and come up with new ideas.
Yeah. And so some of my tips are, and this was my favorite long before, we started Lawn Fawn, was doing challenges, because it gives you an automatic idea. So we have our Lawn Fanatics challenge. It's every 2 weeks, and it's free. It's up there. There's a blog. We'll have people link it below. Jen and Shari will link it. But what's great is sometimes it'll be like a sketch, or sometimes it'll be a color palette, and it takes away decision-making, which for me helps me become creative. So it's like, okay, I didn't have to make a decision about what colors I was using. So now I'm like, oh, well, if the colors are pink and red and green, well, I might take out my strawberry stamp set, because like those are the right colors for that. And it helps direct me instead of just looking at everything and being like, oh, I don't know what to do, So I think that's a really good way. And then the other thing, I always know that I need birthday cards. So like, if I need something and I want to just create, but I don't know what for, a birthday card is great, because you'll know that you'll use it for sure. Yeah. And then another tip too is I recreate cards I like want to be the girls on the Lawn Fawn design team. And so like I just recreate their cards, and it feels so good because I always learn something new because they're different than me. So they create differently. And then I always feel so fancy because I made one of their beautiful cards. So sometimes you could literally just recreate a card and it could get your creativity going. And it really is fun to get to create a similar card to someone that you really admire. So I think that's a really fun way too.
Awesome ideas.
So asked if you any classes with the goat or barn, Jen.
So I did just do an exclusive class for Firefly Farm. They did an event with their Creative Create events. But I haven't designed a class specifically around that. I'll definitely keep that in mind. But honestly, probably what's coming up is stuff with the new summer release. So I would definitely just look at, you did do the goat on Instagram.
Yeah, so we've been doing the intro videos for that. So there's a ton of ideas on those intro videos, and Rebecca and Shari will link those. And so that's a really great thing to do as well, is to take a look at those intro videos. And it's kind of like a little mini class, to just kind of see what you can learn there. See.
All right. So I rosied my cheeks, which is something I always like to do with the critters. And I added pink to their ears and pink to their noses. And I'm going to move on to my jam jars. And for the jam jar, I am using, and I just am checking my coloring guide because I don't want to do something different and confuse people. But I'm going back to that R29, R35 combo, but I'm also going to be mixing in some R37 to just kind of get that really rich kind of jam color. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to use R29 first and come up from the bottom of the jar, fairly thick because we've got a lot of room to work with. So it's going to look like this. And then I am going to blend out the edge of the R29. The mouse's ears and noses was RV10. Saw that question come through. So I was using R35. Whoops. Coloring and talking at the same time is sometimes tricky, you guys. All right, so I'm blending out the edge of the R29 with R35. So it'll look something like this. It looks a little messy right now. Don't worry about it. Then I'm going to finish filling in the top with the R35, just one layer so it stays nice and light. And what I'm going to do while my cardstock is still wet, I'm going to come up from the bottom with that R37. And that's just really, I don't know, it just kind of gives that richness that I feel like a jam jar would be.
My grandma just walked in. I'm asking her if she wants to come on screen, but I don't know.
Oh, yes. Mimi needs to come say hi.
This is my grandma. And she's here visiting and spending time with her great-grandson.
I love it.
Yay.
It's so good to see you again.
Yeah, so she's been here visiting, and we've been spending the week together and getting to play with Miles and her great-grandson and all the puppies, and my brother was here, so it's been really fun.
Yes, I love it. I'm jealous. I wish I was there with you guys.
Oh, me too. Mira, estamos haciendo tarjetas aquí.
Ay, qué lindas.
Sí.
Oh, how pretty.
Everybody is saying hello to you.
Todo el mundo están diciendo hola.
Ah,
sí. Hola. Y hay personas que están en Sudamérica y hablan español, así que hola a todo el mundo.
My English was better, but I felt
Sí. Ahora. Gracias. Bye.
Kelly just said your grandmother is so youthful, and I agree. How old is your Mimi now, Kelly?
Mimi is 95.
I would never.
She is amazing.
I would never guess that ever.
She is incredible. And she's been having so much fun chasing after Miles, and Miles just is in love with her. Everything is me. Mimi all the time. He wants to give her Cheerios. He keeps saying, Mimi, sit. So poor Mimi has been having to sit on the floor and then get back up.
I love it. I think it's so great. And my grandmother was literally one of my most favorite people in my life when, and still is, but when she was alive. So I am so excited that Miles is having so much fun with his Mimi.
He really is. I'm going to go through some comments. I'm a little behind, so I'm just catching up on a few things. Someone has a great tip if you're going to be making platform pop-ups is to just use some scrap cardstock that you have and just to get used to it. And then later you could make your final one, and that'll help you kind of learn it, and you can follow along with the video.
That's what I did all the time.
Really awesome. And then a lot of people are asking what a quokka is. Google it. You will not regret it. They are adorable. Lots of fun suggestions. I know, Deanna's asking, we need to have something that says in law, and we don't have that yet. We keep forgetting, so we definitely have to do that. Someone's asking for more dogs. You will be happy. There's a very cute dog thing in the new Simply Celebrate, so you're going to really like that. And so we've got lots of people having, someone's blaming me for adding the B90s into her Copic collection. I know those were new for me too, and they're so pretty. Oh my goodness.
I'm pulling out my teals. So those of you guys that do online classes with me, we literally use BG11 and BG13 in almost every class that I teach. But if teal isn't your thing, you can always swap out, whatever's colored in teal for something else. But I am going to use a little bit of BG49 on the fruit basket just to kind of shadow in the crevices.
And then this is a really great suggestion by Erica. She says in her classes, people can decide what colors they need based on what they love to color the most. So if you really love flowers, you might want pinks, purples, etc. But then if you want animals, you're probably going to want some grays.
Yeah, for sure. And I say, pick out something that you want to color, get a few markers, from that color scheme. So in the spring, you're probably going to get pinks and maybe greens. And then in the summer, you're going to throw in some blues. And in the fall, you're going to do some oranges and yellows. And then in the winter, you're going to do some reds. And then before you know it, you have a rainbow. So I just put BG49 in the little shadows of the fruit basket. And then I'm going to take BG13 and I'm going to come up from the bottom. And I'm going to color the whole, coming up with terms, you guys, when I'm doing my coloring guides has been really interesting, but I'm going to color the whole lip of the berry basket. What is that called, Kelly? Why am I not?
I don't know. I honestly, I struggle with the same thing. I'm like, what is that called?
But the whole top, that whole edge.
Like
yeah, sure. Edge.
Sure. Let's do that.
We were coloring the goats in Firefly Farms event, and I'm like, I called them hooves. I hope that they're hooves. And everybody's
I did the same thing in the intro video. I was like, are these horns, antlers? I don't know, but they're cute.
Well, I learned that goats have cloved hooves, cloved hooves, and that means how they're separated. So they're different than a horse, but they have that separation. It makes them cloved hooves. Sorry, I can't speak. And now I'm going to blend out with BG11. I'm just going to color and be quiet. You can go back to questions, Kelly.
All right. So someone mentioned they love challenges as well. Lots of people saying that. And then someone said they find sketches on Pinterest. And that's a really great idea. And someone else also, just like me, wants to be one of the ladies of the design team because they love them so much. Lots of really amazing suggestions. I'm writing down a lot of these. And I hope Rebecca is writing some down too. I'm sure she is. Someone this is a beautiful idea. They're making cards to donate, and that opens up her mind because she's not making it for a specific person. Cards for Cubs is for foster kids of all ages and backgrounds. So that's really cool.
Oh, great.
Someone's asking the question. Oh, okay. Rebecca was texting me something here. Let's see. Oh, people are asking where I'm from because I was speaking Spanish. So my family is Cuban. So my grandmother and my parents are from Cuba. I was born here, but Spanish was my first language. So I grew up speaking Spanish and English. I've been trying to teach Miles as well, but I feel like I haven't been doing as good of a job as I need to be. But yeah, so I've always spoken both languages. And Mimi was saying to you guys that she used to be better with English, but she's with her hearing not being as good, it's harder for her to fill in the gaps with English, where Spanish she can. So we speak mostly in Spanish all the time. So
that's very interesting. You don't think of,
Yeah, because you think about when you can't hear something well, you kind of like fill in the gaps, right? You're like, well, with English, it's just harder for her to fill in those gaps, which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So I just did the tops of the jam jars. I just took the BG13 and traced over the crease line. And then I just blended out in BG11. So the scallop part of the, jam cover is really light and the top of the jam jar is really light. But I just used the BG13 and the BG11. I'm going to move on to the sign. I know we are like chatting up a storm today, so I want to just make sure we get our coloring done so we can start to assemble. But for the sign, I'm going to use E23 and E21. I really just wanted a really light looking sign, like light colored wood. And so I'm going to start with the E23. And I'm going to come over from the left side. Remember, I told you I'd pick a side. So I'm going to come over from the left side fairly generously because the sign is big, so you don't have to worry about space issues. And then I just went down the left side a little bit on the post. So it's going to look like this. And then I'm going to take the E21 and I'm going to blend the edge of that E23. I'm not going to color the whole sign. I'm just focusing on blending the edge. It looks a little rough at first. It doesn't look super smooth. I don't worry about that right away. So it's going to look like this. We're going to even it out in just a minute. I'm going to continue with that E21 and fill in the sign with one layer, whatever's white. And then I'm going to go back to that E23 again while my cardstock is still wet and come back over from that left edge again. And that's going to soften maybe that harsh line that we kind of created with that E21. And this is what we got.
That's pretty.
So it looks kind of like wood a little bit, right? I just saw somebody said I missed it. Who's 91? And Kelly Marie's Mimi is 95.
Yeah, my grandmother is. And by the way, she is going to love all your comments saying that she looks so young. I will definitely share them.
Please share those with her.
Yes, she is going to love them all. So, but yes, we're so grateful that we get to spend time with her. And we're already trying to plan our next visit. She lives in Miami. So my dad flew out there and then flew back with her here. And then we're hoping to do another trip with her soon. So I'm excited for that.
So I'm going to take Y17 and Y15 to do the bumblebee. And I'm just going to go up from the bottom of the bumblebees on their little white stripes and do a little Y17 like so. And then with the Y17, while we're coloring with that, I am going to do all the centers of the flowers. The flowers I'm keeping white, kind of like little white daisies. I feel like strawberry flowers are white with maybe like a pink tint to them, but we're going to keep ours white. Remember, in Lawn Fawn Land, you can color things however you want to color them. They don't need to be realistic. And then I'm just going to blend out the edge of the Y17 on the bumblebees with the Y15. And what I like to do with their little wings is put a little shadow on those wings. So I'm going to use the BG 0000. So that was 4 zeros if you're following, but just a really light blue. It doesn't matter what you use, but I'm just putting a little bit, and it might not even show up on camera, on the just right at the base of the wings. I just have to let you guys know that I live in Massachusetts on Cape Cod. It's still winter, and I have our slider door wide open because it's like muggy today, and I'm just really happy about that. It's the little things. I just looked and I remembered that it was open, and I'm not sitting here freezing. It's fresh air is nice. You don't get that during the winter.
A really good question here. It says, I usually color first and then die cut. Is there a benefit to cutting first?
So the reason why we're cutting first is because we don't have time to sit here and die cut all together. That takes a little bit of time. So we get that out of the way so we can create more things together. But in my own time, when, you know, I'm not teaching a class, I do stamp, color, and then die cut. And I just saw somebody mention that Y15 was not on the Copic list, and I apologize. I strayed from my coloring guide. I used Y17 and Y21 on the bumblebees on my coloring guide, and I just used Y15 today. So it just shows it really doesn't matter, that the guide is just a guide. And so I apologize. I try not to stray from that. My Connecticut friends are telling me it's snowing and sleeting in Connecticut. And so on Cape Cod, we tend to have more mild winters because we are far out in the ocean and the ocean surrounds us. So the warmer water temps surrounding us helps us have a more mild winter most of the time. I'm not jinxing myself. I don't want like a blizzard in April. And then real quick, and then I'll let you, Kelly, to chime in if there's more questions. Yes. I'm going to take the RV10 and I'm going to color the little jam jar label. And I think on the little heart, I'm looking at my coloring guide so I don't make more confusing mistakes, but I just used RV21 at the little base of the heart, the little point, and then I'm going to blend that out with RV10. So I'm going to show you where I did the little shadow, and then I'll just blend that out with RV10. So I see another comment about how the outlines of my images are really crisp. We've talked about that, but I just use the Lawn Fawn Jet Black ink. It's really an awesome ink pad. I promise you, if I was teaching a non-Lawn Fawn class with Copics, I would be using the same ink pad. And I just am able to use this and stamp it once. But if you use a stamping platform like a Misty, like this, you can always stamp it a couple times. Hey, Miles is here.
He's here. Oh, Mike's he's hanging with me. Say hi, Miles. Look at the camera. Do you see Auntie Jenny?
Hi, Miles. Hi.
Yeah, Daddy left. I know. He's been teething, so he's been struggling. Poor guy.
Aw.
Yeah, and we've had a lot of fun requests. Someone said beavers. We may be working on something.
Ooh, that would be fun.
I know. I also love the idea of a vegetable set. Like, we haven't done that in a long time. I think that could be really fun too. There's a lot of fun puns with that.
I mean, I'm just going to throw it out there. I'm always ready for more mermaids, just saying. I've probably done like 100 cards with mermaid for you.
He's looking at the strawberries going, whoa.
Look at the strawberries. Hi, Miles. Look at those. Did Mommy color them really well?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, people were saying that it was fun to hear me speak Spanish. Thank you guys so much. I'm very grateful that I realized how difficult it probably was for my parents to make sure I learned it now having my own kids. So I've always been really grateful. And now I've got to figure out, I know, how to teach you Spanish. Whoa.
Those of you that are creating along with us, if you could just let me know in the comments real quick, how are you doing on coloring? Because I'd like to move on and do some stenciling and some inking, but let me know.
And so there's some other people out there also that English was their second language as well, and that they're trying to teach their children too. So it's good to know there's other people to help motivate me to make sure he learns.
Yay.
Let's see, I'm trying to go in. Some people talk about the replay. The replay is up forever and ever. So you guys, once we have the replay up, you'll be able to play it at any time.
Yep.
Someone's grandmother is turning 104 in April. Wow. Congratulations to your grandma. How wonderful is that?
RV21, RV10 for the heart.
Oh, you want a sticker? Okay. He calls washi tape stickers. This is clearly the child of a crafter.
I love it. I love it. I love it. and he helps out at the Lawn Fawn headquarters.
Yeah, he's starting to learn how to stock shelves. I think I might have to start clocking him in. I don't know. You want a sticker? Sticker. You want a sticker on here? Okay. Sticker. More stickers? Okay.
All right, you guys. I am going to say that we are going to do some ink blending next. So I'm going to switch back the camera.
Yes.
Miles will be small again, but we'll still see him.
And as you start taking out your supplies, Jen, I'll see. Let's see, we've got. Oh, someone's also mentioning that as their mother gets older and with memory problems, you kind of stick to your original language.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to ink the edge, the bottom edge of all of our letters, you guys. And so I know for some people, you know, having a strip of cardstock, inking it, and then die cutting it. But I really wanted to make sure that I was getting the tips, the bottom tips of the letters. So another trick is you could put them on tape to hold them. I do not mind getting my fingertips a little inky. It's like the norm for me. So I'm just going to hold the letters and bring the ink in, and I'll kind of show you guys what I mean as I go. I'm going to be using Lawn Fawn Lobster ink, and I cut the letters out with guava cardstock, which is one of my favorite Lawn Fawn cardstock colors. And you'll see, like on this jam card, it just adds like a little bit of definition to the bottoms of the letters. I just think it makes them kind of come alive. So I'm going to ink up my blender brush with some lobster ink. And I'm going to kind of tap it off on my tabletop is a glass tabletop. So I work directly on here, but I'm just going to bring the ink up into the letter, and you can make it as dark or as light as you want and make it as far up or as far down as you want. And again, I just think it adds some life to the letters. So I'm going to do that at the bottom of all of my Henry's ABCs. If you guys don't have Henry's yet, I know it's a really popular die, but if you don't have them, you can use any other alphabet dies you have. Maybe you have stitched Oliver's ABCs, which is another favorite. We are going to be using Henry's again in the April Create With Us, and we're going to use them in my online classes. And I think you can never go wrong with ABC dies because you can use them for so many different things.
People have had some really awesome stories about their different languages that they speak and how they've incorporated that into teaching their kids.
I love it.
Someone says that they look like I look like my grandma. I always joke that I'm giant Mimi because she's 4'10" and I'm 5'8". So we look similar until we stand next to each other.
You do look very similar. I was noticing it.
I'm just giant Mimi, huh? Oh, okay. Oh no, ball fell. Okay. He's like, okay, mommy, this is boring. Do you want a sparkle glue too? Oh, sparkles. Yeah. Oh, somebody says they're using Oliver's instead of Henry's.
I love it. I can't wait to see. Make sure if you guys post your cards after to use that hashtag that's at the bottom of the screen in the grass, the LF Create With Us. That helps us see the cards you're posting, even if maybe we don't follow each other on Instagram. And I love seeing what you guys create. As a teacher, coming up with these cards is so fun, but then seeing you guys actually make them is so rewarding and so fun for me to see. So, Kelly, how many ink pads does Lawn Fawn have?
That is a really good question. I actually don't know. Rebecca, do you know how many? Sorry,
it's a little less than 65 because I have my ink pad holder and it's almost full. Yeah. So I would say just under 65 is my answer.
I know. I don't know if Sharpie pens is the best baby present. Ooh, it's an oil-based Sharpie as well. Paint pen.
Say bye, Miles.
Oh, you want to say bye-bye, everybody? Say bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye. Say bye-bye, everybody. Yeah.
Bye,
Bye-bye. Do you want to bring your stickers with you?
Miles.
No? Okay.
I love it.
All right, kiddo. Thanks for coming and hanging with me.
Oh, Callie just said 56, not including the blacks. Thank you, Callie. I knew it was less than 60, 65 because of my ink pad holder.
Bye, Miles.
All right. So I'm just inking the bottoms of all of my letters here.
Oh, someone says they want my chair. This is my mom's chair. Her favorite color is purple, and it's like purple with sparkles. It's her favorite thing.
Oh my gosh, that's so your mom.
And someone's asking if we've ever discontinued colors. We haven't yet, ever. So, and if we ever did, we would then maybe replace it with something better and similar. But we haven't replaced any yet.
Lots of people saying bye to Miles.
Bye. Aw, thank you guys. He's a sweetie. I know, poor guy he had so much fun the first 2 days, and then the teething started, and it's like, those darn teeth. I'm trying to collect all my pieces now because Miles had moved them all around.
Oh, right. So the little, I don't know, are they still called tittles if they're at the end of an exclamation point? I don't know.
I don't know. I just call it dot.
Yeah, the little dots at the end of the exclamation point, I'm really just going to dab them with my blender brush to try to get some of this ink on. Again, I know if we were working on our own time, we might ink one first and then die cut, but I have to try to make sure everything's going to fit into the time frame.
And then let's see here. We had someone's talking about the mermaid cardstock. So we are working on getting it. There's been delays. There's a lot of paper supply chain issues right now. It's actually where we kind of have seen the biggest issues in general. And they're working on trying to get it. So as soon as we have it, we will let you know. If you go to the mermaid cardstock on our site, you can sign up to be notified as soon as it arrives. We have a huge order. We're just waiting for it to get here. And it's been the biggest one where we're like, when are you going to arrive? So we don't know the exact date yet, but as soon as it comes out, then we'll send out that notification if you sign up for it.
So I have some isopropyl alcohol in a mister. I've shared this with you guys before, but I'm just going to mist my glass tabletop where all that inky mess is. And then I always have a very inky flour sackcloth nearby, and I'm just going to wipe this up for really quick cleanup. What's nice is the alcohol evaporates, so you don't have any moisture left behind.
And one of the things I love of what you did with these letters, Jen, is that instead of trying to do so much inking, you started with that cardstock color, which is awesome. You're just doing a little bit of inking versus trying to ink the whole thing. And you can do that with lots of your different colors of cardstock. You can just test your different inks and see what looks the best. And a little tip when you're testing your ink on colored cardstock is a lot of times colored cardstock will kind of soak in the ink. So try a little bit, give it like 15 minutes, look and see what it looks like. You may need a darker color than you think to get that shading. So that's a really good tip that I've learned after I've made a whole card and then the whole thing had, the color, you couldn't see it anymore. Right. So yeah.
Thank you, Melissa. She let me know that the dot at the bottom of an exclamation point is a tittle, just like an I and a J. I should know this as a graphic designer, but so I just wanted to show you guys, I know we have organizational questions all the time. This was an idea from Shari, but I am using a 6x8 Simple Stories binder. And this is where I store all of my stencils. So Simple Stories happens to have sheet protectors that fits these cute little half stencils. And then I also store my reveal wheel and the slimline stencils. They stick up a teeny bit, but it doesn't bother me. Like, I still think it's just a nice way for them to be stored. So I'm going to take out my grass stencil, slimline, grassy hillside. I'm going to try to remember which one I actually used. I feel like I did this last time I taught with this stencil, but it's okay if it's different, right? And I'm using the Wendy Vecchi Station. It's a magnetic board. I know Lawn Fawn carries it in their online shop. I'll just let you guys know, Ranger sent this board to me back when it first came out, and they have since addressed the issue of the grid wearing off. So don't look at mine as an example of, oh, that's going to happen. They've kind of fixed that issue. But what's really nice about having the magnetic board when you are stenciling is it's going to hold my stencils in place, and I don't need to worry about taping them down or any spray or anything like that. And we're also going to use this board in a bit when we adhere our letters so that they're nice and straight. So I have my stitched slimline rectangle kind of vertical here. And I'm going to be doing the grass along the left-hand side. Because I'm right-handed, I'm going to spin this, but I just wanted to explain that to you guys so I didn't confuse you. I am using freshly cut grass from Lawn Fawn, which is the best grass color. I mean, look at it. It matches the bottom of our video. I love it. And I'm going to use a blender brush again.
And someone's mentioning that they don't have the rectangle die, so they'd like to know the size that they need.
Oh, sure. I'm just going to measure it right now. So 3 by 8. 3 by 8.
Hopefully that helps. And if you need any other sizes, let us know, Linda.
And so I'm starting right on the stencil, kind of like how I tapped off on my tabletop. I'm starting right on the stencil, and I'm going to bring the color down into my stitched rectangle. I'm going to build our little grassy hillside.
Oh, people are saying that they love this Make Art station. It is really a cool.
I love it. It's literally made me fall in love with stencils all over again. Yeah. And so now that I have my grassy hillside done, I'm just going to move this for a second. I'm going to clean my stencil with that isopropyl alcohol. Wipe it so I don't have any more green on there. Again, this is a really nice way to quickly use your stencils. You don't have to get up and rinse them in a sink, and you don't have to wait for them to dry. I'm impatient. And then we had the stencil like this to do the grass. And so I'm going to shift the stencil down, and it becomes a mask on the grass.
And someone's asking for the green color. It's freshly cut grass.
My eyeballs are deceiving me. All right. So now it's become a mask on the grass. It's covering it. Just getting my magnets in place, and you guys can see how it's covering. I'm going to spin it just because I'm right-handed. So in order for me to reach it. And now I'm going to use Merman to do a little bit of ink blending on the sky. And I just want to show you guys the sample. Of course, I have a black cat hair there, but I'm only going a little bit up off the grass. I'm not going to do the whole background. You can do obviously whatever you would like. But I'm just going to do a little bit of Merman coming off the grass into the sky. So I know I was doing some heavy ink blending yesterday with a different ink. So I'm just taking my blender brush and I'm just rubbing it on some white cardstock to get some of that other blue off the brush, or most of it. That's kind of what I do when I switch colors in between. Especially I knew Merman is going to be a lighter teal. All right, again, I'm going to start right on the stencil, and I'm going to bring the color up and then just kind of let it fade into the rest of the card. I'm not going to cover the whole background, but you guys can obviously do that if you would like.
Sorry, I got red ink on my mom's countertop.
Oh, good job. Good job.
I'm gonna run and get something to clean. My mom does definitely not a mess person. So, and I am a messy person. So I had to make sure I cleaned that up.
My poor full-size station. This thing traveled with me when I was teaching in person, and it's a little warped. So my stencil is moving on me.
Loved. Well loved.
Yep. Might be time for a new one, especially since they improved the grid situation. All right, I got a little dark in the center here, but I know that we're going to be putting all kinds of mice and everything on it. So it's going to look cute no matter what. Just remember that too, you guys, when you're building cards, try not to focus on every little detail. If you did something slightly off, once you build that whole card together, it's going to be adorable. And honestly, whoever's going to get that card is going to love it no matter what. We're the only ones that see maybe those little things that happened. Don't be so hard. Don't be hard on yourself.
Especially with ink blending. I'll notice I'll be really worried about something. I'm like, I don't know how it's going to turn out. But once you add all your characters on it, it always somehow works, you know?
Yeah. And like Kelly was mentioning, just even with white cardstock, when you're ink blending, it does soften over time, you know? So it might look kind of harsh at the beginning, but it is going to soften. All right. So now what we're going to do is a little bit of stamping on this panel before we start placing all of our bits, all of our cuteness. So I'm going to get out my Berry Special stamp set. And I'm going to get out the little bumblebee trail. And Kelly and I talk about this a lot. This type of stamping, we tend to use acrylic blocks. It's kind of quicker, a little bit easier once you get used to it. And I love Lawn Fawn's blocks that have that nice grid on them to hold them very easily. And what I'm going to do, oh, I really just confused myself. I stamped the trail twice and turned the stamp. Gosh, why do I do complicated things like that? So you guys can see I stamped the trail like this, and then I think I wished that more stamped in the card. So then I inked it up and stamped it coming in like this. You know, keeping us on our toes, I was. So I'm going to just stamp it off the edge, just like so. Ink it up again, and then stamp it coming in. I think I wanted a little bit of that curly Q. I think I was missing it. So I got that little stamping done. And then the other thing I want to stamp before we get to putting some images on our card is the thank you in the upper left-hand corner. So I'm still going to use an acrylic block for that. You can use a stamping platform if you would like, but it's just going in the corner, right nestled into that stitching, just like so. All right. Yeah, I see people saying they didn't know how they stenciled before the station. I agree. You know what? I didn't. I bought all the stencils and they sat there and I didn't use them. And so if I can buy a tool that helps me use my supplies more, I am all about it.
I saw someone mention as well that they don't have the slimline grass, but they use the other grass and it looked really good, like the A2 size. So that's really cool to hear as well.
Yeah. And then we're going to stamp on our little sign. You guys can pick. I love that, you know, Lawn Fawn gives lots of options, so you can always switch it up. I'm going to just stamp Berry Patch. But if you want to do a different one, you can. And I'm going to just stamp that right on this cute little sign.
Sorry if you can get you guys in here, Miles. He's crying.
Oh, I was just thinking people might start to hear we've got the wind coming. All right. So now what I think we're going to do, I'm just thinking, it's the fun part, again, of designing these cards forever ago. I want to make sure I do things in the right order for you guys. I think what we're going to do is work from the bottom up. So I'm going to add my stitched rectangle to the scalloped stitched rectangle, because how adorable is that? I mean, I just love it. I have to apologize. A little bit of my stitching is ripped because I had to put it through my platform twice because my extended platform plates were not working and I didn't have my new ones in. So when you put it through twice, the stitching is so nice, it does a little bit too much stitching. So, but it's going to look cute once it's all put together. So I'm going to put some foam tape behind this stitched rectangle and add it to the scalloped stitched rectangle. Thank you, Dee. See, I just did exactly what I just told you guys not to do, is to point out the issues with your cards. Do as I say. She said, I didn't even notice. And I was like, do as I say, not as I do, you guys. All right.
Oh, someone's mentioning for teething, their child like frozen waffles. Ooh. That's a really good idea. I might try that. I think it's tough too because he's not at home, you know, so he's just not used to.
So this, Diana is asking, what type of foam tape am I using? This is 3M foam tape. I used to use 3M foam tape all the time for everything, but they changed their formula right before the pandemic. So I don't use it as much anymore because I used to like it because I could cut it into thin strips, little pieces, all the things that I wanted. But it's harder to do that now. So I'll use it for big pieces like I just did with this panel. But other than that, my other favorite go-to is just these 3 sizes of the scrapbook adhesives foam squares, which I know Kelly will probably agree with me.
Yes.
The bigger ones and the smaller squares. All right. And so now we're going to start to build our scene from the bottom up. So I'm going to start by adding my 2 rows of strawberries. So I'm going to put foam squares behind it. I pop up a lot. So if you guys don't want to do that, you do not have to. And I do list on the handout what has foam dots behind it and what doesn't. So that's helpful for you to see because I know the photos of the cards, it doesn't always translate. I am making sure as I put my foam squares down, I'm putting them towards the center because we are going to tuck some mice behind them. So I try to stay away from the tops and the bottoms.
I actually caught up.
Yay.
Oh, almost. I have the stamp in my sign, but I'm getting there.
You're getting there. All right, so I'm going to put my first row of strawberries here on the right. We'll add our second row. I used to go strawberry picking all the time when I grew up in New Hampshire, but I haven't been in a long, long time.
And someone's asking what the size of the scallop rectangle is. I don't have a ruler. If you don't mind measuring that too, Jen.
Yep. Let me get out my trusty, amazing ruler that has all the measurements in the world. It is 3.5. And this is the scalloped edge to the scalloped edge. 3.5 by 8.5.
And we have Sandy asking about where to find the handout. So we'll have Shari and Jen link that.
Rebecca, yep. And the link is...
Oh, sorry, Shari, Rebecca. Sorry about that.
Okay. And the link is at the bottom on the grass too, but they will definitely link it for you. All right, so now we're going to add our little berry patch sign. So I'm going to add some foam squares behind the sign part, but not the post. I'll show you guys. So I've got just squares behind the sign, but not the post. And I'm going to put a little bit of glue tube behind the post. And this way I can tuck it behind the strawberries and it'll kind of like lay flat, but come at an angle. Just kind of a fun little dimension thing. We're going to put one of our little overall mice. He's so cute. He's going to go overlapping the sign. So you want to concentrate your foam squares to the left side.
Someone says I was concentrating so hard. I know, I was like, I had to catch up.
And then we're going to tuck our little mice behind the row. So we've got our little mouse, my little Gus Gus mouse, eating the strawberry. He's going to be flat. So I'm going to just use a little bit of glue tube behind him. And we're going to tuck him over here to the far right. And then we've got the mouse doing all the work, carrying all those strawberries. And similar to what we did with the sign, I am going to put a foam square or two at the top of him, but glue tube at the bottom of him. So he'll tuck behind those strawberries, but have a little bit of angled dimension. So just like this.
I always like that look. It makes it feel fancy.
Yeah, you know, something a little different. All right. And I'm going to quickly stamp burp because I just got to after we talked about it.
I know, right?
I just need to. So funny. I know I'll have to make cards for my nephews with this because they'll just love that Auntie Jenny made a card that says burp on it.
Now, is the guy carrying the 3 strawberries, is he popped up or is he flat?
So his legs are glue tubed behind the strawberries, but the top of him has a couple foam squares, just like we did the sign.
Got it. That's what I thought, but I was making sure I wasn't confused. But then the guy with the single is flat.
Flat. Yep. I just used glue tube for that. Yeah, no worries if you just finished coloring. Maybe take a breather and relax, and you can always come back to the replay. It loads pretty quickly after we're done, and you can maybe watch the replay for the assembly or catch up on the next card. Start with us on the next card, whatever works for you guys.
And then here's a good question. They're asking, once you have a lot of popped up things, sometimes it's hard to get it into an envelope. In and out of an envelope. Somebody was mentioning that when they were doing their Christmas cards. Do you have any tips for that?
So even though I am popping up a lot of individual things, I'm not doing a lot of popping on top of popping on top of popping. So I do have my stitched rectangle popped and then the images popped, but that's like 2 layers of pop, and I don't tend to have a problem. But you could always get like really fun bubble mailers or cardboard envelopes for those extra fancy cards that you're working on. So this is the other new thing that I love to do with my station, is I line up the card on the grid, and this is super Kelly. I make believe I'm Kelly and Shari when I do this. I line it up on the grid, and I actually use the magnetic ruler that comes with it. And what I do is I make sure that the ruler, which it's a 0 centering ruler, I make sure that the 0 is in the center. So you want to make sure that your measurements on each edge of the paper are the same, which looks like it's 4 1/4. So 4 1/4 and 4 1/4. And I lay that magnetic ruler down, which I'm trying to just make sure I have enough room for my letters. And then I take the magnets and I put it on the ruler to hold it in place. Because obviously, you know, the ruler's not laying flat because we have things that are popped up. And this is going to help me place my alphabet letters onto the card. Now, I used foam strips behind my letters on my sample here. You guys can actually see them. Today I'm going to lay them flat. I'm going to probably break out in hives, but just for time's sake, I'm going to lay them flat. But if you want to pop yours up, the foam strips by Scrapbook Adhesive are life-changing and amazing. But I think just because I feel like our class is going a little bit longer today, I'm gonna let it go and I'm gonna lay them flat. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take out my letters. We have very much, and I'm gonna start to lay them down. And again, you'll have to move them a little bit. I'll kind of talk through my process, but bear with me. I'm just moving my ruler down so I'll have room for the letters. And I'm going to just start to lay them where I think they're going to go. But that might change a little bit. Stick with me. I promise it'll all work out. But I'm going to kind of get all my letters.
Oh, here's a really good tip as you're doing your letters, is that someone says if they have things popped up and that like the edges are kind of getting caught when they put it in the envelope, they actually wrap the card in printer paper and then they can easily put it in the envelope. And that is such a good idea. I'm definitely going to try that.
It's a very good idea.
Another idea too is, for example, if you made an A2 size card, just get 5x7 envelopes and then you'll know that you'll have enough room and it's still standard postage, which is really great too.
So on this card, because we're going to have the bumblebee on the right, I am not super concerned about the sentiment being centered on the card, if that makes sense, because that bumblebee kind of fills in some spacing. If I was wanting this to be specifically centered, you would just want to start your B at the same measurement on the left as your exclamation point starts on the right, okay? But again, because that B is there, we don't need to worry about that too much. And I think Kelly will even agree.
Oh, yeah.
More
no, I actually do agree with that. That's kind of why I like to do stuff like that, because then it sort of like takes away the pressure for me of making it exactly perfect. Because I know that like it's going to fill in the card. It's going to make it. And then I can place my B later so that it makes it look like it's centered.
Exactly. So I'm kind of just placing my letters where I think they're going to go. Okay. And then I'm going to move my ruler up a little bit so they're right at the bottom of the letters. That's going to help me stay straight across the card. And you guys just saw, I have like a little spatula tool. I think this is actually from my silhouette. I just lifted up my mouse a little bit. I had my foam squares too high up on him. So I just lifted that up so I'll be able to tuck that U under there. And then I want to space out the words very much because we are going to put a cute little strawberry in between these letters, which is going to make it
my favorite part of the whole card, by the way. I don't know why. I think it's so cute, that little strawberry in the middle.
Thank you. And so now what I'm going to do is I am going to start with my, my glue tube. I was seeing if my gem picker upper was going to work. I cut all my nails really short, so things are a little trickier for me. But I'm going to take my Lawn Fawn glue tube, just a very little bit of glue. You don't need a lot. And then I'm just going to start placing my letters down. And again, if they need to tuck behind what we've already put down, you can kind of slide them down. And I'm just working my way over. I'm going to do berry and then I'm going to do much backwards because again, if there's a little space in between the words, it's going to be okay because we're going to fill that in with an adorable strawberry. And this is a great trick if you haven't done a lot of sentiments with ABCs. This is just a great trick that will help kind of mask it if maybe things didn't line up the way you want them. And I know there's lots of tricks out there. You could use press and seal, you know, pick up all your letters at once and lay them all down at once. And I do things like that sometimes. But I have to say with this station and putting that magnetic ruler down, I have found this just as easy and speedy, which I get very impatient. So I think that's why I'm not type A.
Well, I'm having to deal with my type A issues here, which is good for me because I stamped my burp up too high. So I'm trying to figure out how to place my letters and have it still look good. And so working on that.
You could always put another bumblebee maybe over that burp and it could be under a letter, Kelly.
True, but I think, I don't know, I'm going to hold this up, see what everybody thinks. I think I might have found a solution. We'll see.
I'm going to put you on the bigger screen so people can see what you're showing them.
So I kind of made it like,
I love it.
Like that, you know, so it's kind of seemed purposeful.
Yeah. It's like
I should have, you can see here, I should have stamped that burp way down here. That was an oops on my part.
I think it looks like your letters are like dancing along the grass, and I love that.
Yeah, it's kind of fun, right? But I think I need to move my M down some so it looks a little bit more like I did this on purpose. Everything's fine. So anyways, I think it's good to like, I don't want to scrap my whole card. I already glued everything. Someone said I could just turn it over and start again, but I already glued everything down.
Oh gosh, yeah, no.
And you know, so
you've committed. We're going to make
it. To it. But I actually think that's kind of cute. It's like very much. Wah!
Hold it up one more time, Kelly.
No, here. So it's kind of fun. It's like,
I think it's super cute. And then when you put that bumblebee at the end, which has movement because of the little lines.
Yeah, it's going to help. And I'm going to put the strawberry in the middle. It's going to be good. So it's good to, and it's good for me emotionally to not just redo everything. Trying to teach myself that because I don't want Miles to end up being so stressed out about things like that.
I feel like mine is dancing along now too. I'm at such a weird angle because of my camera that coloring in the lines and doing things straight is a little tricky.
Oh, someone said I could have done another burp under it and it could have been a double burp and that would have worked too. Oh my gosh. That's really cute. So I love that there's so many solutions, right? To kind of fixing a little oops. Another thing I could have done as well would have been to like shift my very much over. So I could have like shifted all my letters. I did mine with tape runner because I was a little bit worried when I saw it. I was like, I think I made a mistake there. So I did tape runner so that I could move them. And I was glad I did that because I didn't have that quite right.
And I used glue too, but I was able to lift it with the spatula because my H was a little too high. Again, it's the angle. Like I literally want to be like this with my head over it. So
I know, right? To be able to see it. It is hard to do this when you're filming for sure.
So I'm going to dab a teeny little bit of glue at the bottom of my exclamation point, and that's where I'm going to put my tittle because we now know it's a tittle. And then I'm going to pop up my B. Oh, and I'm actually going to have it overlap the exclamation point a little bit, make it kind of all together. Oh, I love it. So cute. Oh, I forgot to switch the camera back. Sorry about that, guys. Oh. So fun. Oh, so cute. I want to be at this strawberry patch right now.
So someone's asking if you wanted to put foam behind each letter, would you just put a strip down behind the words if you did that, would it show through the card? So you can either cut down, so you can use your scissors and you can actually cut down these little tiny pieces of foam into like thinner pieces. So you just take your scissors like this and just trim them down, and you can make your own little thin pieces. Or there is a relatively newer product by the scrapbook adhesives that are these like thin strips, and you could use that behind the letters too. I've cut mine for a million years. I just happened to start getting these because of Jen, but it's easy to cut down what you have and make it work.
Yeah. I cut these down in half all the time. I just, again, pop up so many things. These just make my life easier, but I cut these in half. You guys can even see, look, I have some cut in half here ready to go. And I just pick and choose the chunkiest parts of the letter. So on this M, and I'll do it in the next card, on the M, I'm probably only going to put foam on the left and the right part of the M, but not that center part. It's enough to raise it all up. And it'll work. So let me know if you guys have your cute little thank you very much card. Oh my gosh, I love it.
It's so cute. Oh, I love it.
So happy.
It's just adorable. I mean, look at this. It's so happy.
Right?
It's just so happy.
I feel like we both need to hold it up. 1 second. I'm gonna keep your card up, Kelly. Okay. There we go. Look. Yay.
So cute, right?
So fun.
Cute. I love it.
I love it.
Someone says that they don't make mistakes. They only have embellishment opportunities. And I like that.
Yeah, for sure. All right. I'm going to flip back to my hands. Feel like I'm getting more comfortable with that software. That's nice.
Yeah. The name of the foam strips, and Rebecca and Shari can link them as well. I believe if we were supposed to have them on the Lawn Fawn site. If we don't yet, we will soon, but I think we do. And they're the Scrapbook Adhesives brand. Yep. It looks like Shari just linked it.
Yay. Shari linked it in Facebook. So
in Facebook. Okay. Yeah. For some reason, Shari's dropped out of the Lawn Fawn account. So it's under the name Shari.
And then Rebecca just added them in YouTube. Thank you guys. Yeah. If
someone's asking if there's another place to catch this live. I'm not seeing some of the comments. Yes, we're currently live on both Facebook and YouTube. And I'm trying to read the comments out loud too, so that like both sides can hear it, but we have two of them going on at once.
Yeah. All right. So now we're going to work on You're Totally My Jam. I love this card so much. And so what we're going to do first is we are going to glitter a few things. I did it on the last card, but it's not really a Gen class if we don't glitter something. So I'm going to be using the Sakura Quickie Glue Pen, which is my most favorite. I'm using it for over, I don't know, like probably 15 years now. I know I look so young. I still look like I'm in my 20s. And we are going to add some Lawn Fawn Prisma glitter to a few things for this card. So the first thing I want us to do is dress our jam jars. So I'm going to take my 3 jam jars off of the tape. And so I use this low-tack tape. This is the Spellbinder's Best Ever Craft Tape, you guys. This tape is not going to go to waste. It's going to end up living on top of my small die cut machine, and I'm going to keep using it until it basically disintegrates. So I just like to point that out so people see that it's still useful after today's class. But we're going to dress up our jam jar. And so we're going to add the jam label to one of them. We're going to add the heart to another one, and we're going to add the flower to the third. And so I'm just adding a dot of Lawn Fawn glue tube to the center of the jar, and I'm just placing those small little images onto the jam jars. And I just loved using the heart and the flower on the jam jar.
It looks so cute. I had done the heart, but I hadn't thought of doing the flower, and I think it's my favorite way to use the jam jar. Now I just have to see where Miles put it, because I think he took my he took my tiny items. If not, I can always cut some new ones.
All right. And so now that we have a little bit of a bigger piece to work with, I'm going to take my Quickie glue pen and I'm going to trace the crease of the jam jar cover. And then for the flower, I'm going to add Quickie glue pen to the whole flower, even the center. And then I take the jam jar and I'll dip it into the Prismaglitter and tap it off with the pen. So I never touch my fingers to the glitter. I don't dump it in there. I just dip and tap. Look at the sparkle. I love it.
And then I'm going to be using the new Sparkle Glaze pen and putting the glitter on there later because my mom is not a glitter lady. This is a no glitter house. But the good thing about the Sparkle Glaze is that there's no glitter messed with it. So I'll still be able to add glitter, but I'm going to do it at the very end when everything is, actually on my card because this takes a little bit to dry.
Yeah, because it takes that will be something you would want to do last because it does take a long time. And I was just going to quickly say on the jam label, I didn't do any glittering on that. I really wanted to make sure the word jam still read really nice and clear. So I just did the crease of the cover.
Okay, I found my jam label. It'll be the flower, but I'll find that later. I can add it to the card after.
Oh, somebody just mentioned they just got their first Quickie glue pen and they love it after I recommended it and they're so happy. It makes such a big difference. Yeah, I agree. All right. And then the only other thing we're going to glitter is just the little shadow on the bumblebee wings. Sorry, I thought I lost my bumblebee. So just where we did that light blue marker, I just did a little bit of Quickie glue pen. I'm going to dip that in and add that sparkle. I want to just also quickly show you guys, because I know some of you, especially that take all my classes and are used to glittering all the things, you might want to go back and add glitter to your Berry Much card. But obviously, like, we wouldn't want to like be dunking our whole card into a bucket of glitter because that's going to get messy really fast. So for instance, we could add Quickie glue to the base of the wings of the bee. And then I use the cap of the Quickie glue pen that's on the back of the pen like a scoop. And so I'll bring up just a teeny bit of glitter, sprinkle it right where I put the Quickie glue pen so you guys can see that little pile of glitter. And then I'll tap it off back into the bucket. And that way we're not getting any glitter trapped anywhere. It's not making a mess. So I often do it this way if I kind of like didn't put glitter on in the beginning or I decide later I want it. So after class, if you guys want to sparkle all the things, I would be totally okay with that and would totally support that decision.
And someone's asking about Prismaglitter, and it's this fine, really sparkly glitter. And I believe we've linked it in Facebook there. And we also have a product called Chunky Glitter, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's chunky glitter. It's really awesome. It gives a much like larger detail. So Jen can show you that. See, it's more like almost snowflakey kind of feel to it. And so they're both really fun, different glitters. And then we just came out with a Sparkle Glaze, which is more like almost like a glitter glue type thing where like you can add like almost like puffy paint kind of style, but it's with glitter. So it's really fun too. So it's just all different looks that are all super, super cute depending on what you need for your card.
All right. Flower. I am going to bring out my station again. We're not stenciling, but I think it's helpful again when you're doing letters so that things will be nice and straight. And again, I'm not super type A, but when doing letters, I do want things to kind of be straight. So I'm going to start to just place a few of my images down because we're going to want to stamp You're Totally My before we add our popped up letters because it'll be easier for the stamp to touch down on the paper. So I'm kind of just going to grab that You're Totally My. And I have the word jam still apart, still with it, but you could cut your sentiment apart if you want. I often do that, but today I'm going to be wild and crazy, and I'm just going to keep it on there. Long sentiment stamps, like so, I like to kind of lay them, like let them fall on your desk naturally so that they'll stay in the shape they're supposed to be in. And then I bring the acrylic block down to it, and that will make sure that it stays nice and straight.
That's a really good tip for items like the long swirly. Since there's a die that could cut it, if you pick it up that way, you know it's going to stamp the exact way to fit the die.
Yeah. Yep. And I'm going to take a Post-it note and I'm going to block off the word jam because we don't want to stamp that today. And I'm going to take my black ink pad and I'm going to just ink up You're Totally My. Peel off that Post-it note. So now I don't have any ink on jam. And I'm looking at my card. I'm going to go ahead and stamp the You're Totally My on the left side, close to the stitching. Now, I'm going to tell you guys something. So if you look really close at my sentiment, the Totally My isn't as crisp as I would like it. And again, I think that was my leaning in. So I always keep a fine point marker, like a micron pen nearby. And I'm just going to go over those letters just a little bit. You don't even need to fill it all in perfectly, but it's going to do it enough so that it appears darker. And it really was just the word totally and my.
I do this all the time. Or if I stamp something out and like a critter or something, and there's just one little part of it that's not perfect, I just take my little fine marker and fill it in and it works great.
Again, I think it's because I was reaching. I always tell people, stamp close to you. I'll be honest, all I have here is a stitched rectangle so far. So if I wasn't live right now, I would just cut myself another stitch rectangle because I haven't put any time and effort into it yet. So I'd be okay with throwing that away. But I don't have my die cut machine near me right now or the stitch rectangle. So
and someone's mentioning if you could have the sample on the screen. She can definitely put that in there. But we also have the handouts that you can print, and that's got some beautiful photos of the cards as well.
Yeah, in case it goes off screen again, I'll try to keep it there, but it's hard to remember sometimes. So I'm going to stamp the bee trail. We're going to have the bee trail go up off the side again. This time we're just going to stamp it once. I didn't do anything funky with it, but we just want the bee to go above the sentiment. All right. Now we can start kind of building. So I'm going to start by taking my jam jar, or not my jam jar, sorry, my berry basket, all the terms.
I'm going to show a little, I want to show a little oops that I made. I was stamping on a paper towel, trying not to get ink on my mom's desk. And I did an oops there. You can see how like the ink doesn't look great. So I'm just going to take my bee and put him further over and just cover that up. And look, it looks totally perfect. So that's another fun, like made an oops, made it work kind of thing.
Perfect. All right, so I'm going to take the trio of berries. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue tube at the bottom of them, and we're going to tuck those into the berry basket. I just love this. I think it's the sweetest thing ever. And I'm going to attach this flat to the card. So with glue tube or tape runner, whatever you're using. And I just want it to be to the right a little bit because our overall mouse is going to be popped up over it. All right. So I'm going to put a couple foam squares behind him. And then I am going to attach him over that berry basket a little bit. I see lots of people are just joining us. So happy to have you guys. If you end up wanting to see the first card and all the coloring, you'll be able to catch the replay after this is done, but we're happy to have you.
Yeah, thank you for joining.
All right, and then my other little trio of strawberries are going to be tucked behind the jam jars. So I kind of still have my jam jars in place. I haven't attached them, but that gives me a good idea of where to tuck these trios. And because I have no nails, I'm going to use my tweezers and just pick up this bottom jam jar and tuck that little strawberry trio right there. And then we have one more single strawberry. We are going to put that popped up off of the berry basket. Yeah, we have to always remember, you guys, that we're making handmade cards. We are not, mechanically producing these. So I see people talking about you fixing your little mistakes.
My little oopsies.
Yeah. That's part of a handmade card is the thought and just having some, well, I think there's lots of parts, but having some creative time for yourself. And then the thought of giving it to somebody, it's not meant to have to be perfect, right? It's handmade.
That's exactly what I love about it, is thinking about who I get to send a card to.
So now I'm going to stack my jam jars up the side, and I am going to have it overlap the edge of the rectangle just a little bit, break out of that frame. I'm using a foam square behind them, just kind of in the center so that I can overlap them a little bit. And I'm kind of like putting them at angles, kind of cockeying them a little bit. Just kind of like they're all like stacked and jumbled and cute. Oh my
I like
gosh.
the crafters are so resourceful. We make oopsies look like intentional design. That's fantastic.
Exactly.
We need like a t-shirt that says that.
Right? All right. So now I'm probably going to eyeball my jam letters because that's just how I roll, you guys. But if you didn't want to, what I would recommend is you can use your station and you could still put it down like this over the words "you're totally my," just like so. And then that way I guess I'll just leave it there. I'll just roll with it. I'll do that because I know most of you will want that guide probably. All right. So like I said, I am going to pop up these letters. So I'm going to flip them over. And I am going to use these foam strips. So I just take one full foam strip off. And I just start to lay it down on the chunkiest parts of the letter. So that doesn't mean I coat the whole back of every letter. I'll show you guys what I mean. And I'm just laying it down and I take my scissors and I just snip the excess off. So this is all I'm going to put down for M. Okay. And then we've got A. I'm just going to go down one side of A. Just like so. And then J. We're just going to put it down the main part of J. And then whatever of this strip I have left, I'm just going to put it right back on this foam backer. Oh, I forgot my exclamation point. Just kidding. We'll put some down that too. All right. I'm fearful I might have lost my second tittle. Oh, nope, I found it. Okay. So I'm crazy and I will put a small piece of foam behind that tittle. But honestly, if you guys just glue tube it down and the other letters are foamed, it'll still look cute. I know sometimes I am a little crazy. All right. So now, yeah, I just love it. I don't know. It's like one of those really cheap embellishments that really just put so much dimension on a card.
It makes it fancy.
Yeah. So I'm just going to start to kind of lay my letters out just like we did with Berry Special. Make sure that I'm going to have room for everything that I want to have room for. And then I'm just going to peel and stick. Using that top of the ruler as a guide for the top of your letters so that everything will be straight. I didn't do the bottom because there's so much popped up down here. I just figured, even though this ruler is really flexible, I just figured that might be harder. So that's why I'm doing the top. And then we'll put our little tittle, which I'm like bound to lose. When I use a teeny tiny piece of foam tape like this, I'm just going to reinforce it with a little glue tube because there's a good chance that it'll come off, but that glue tube is going to make that adhesive even stronger.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I just don't like to give people cards that are going to fall apart. And my dad has so many of my cards still up in his bedroom, like on display for like years. So I always think like, is this?
That's what my mom has right over here. It's just a big of things I've given her. So yeah, but everything seems to have stayed. I'm glad.
Yeah, see, we go through all this effort, so we might as well have them last, right? All right, and so now, super easy, you guys. We've got some guava cardstock and some pattern paper.
And I want to show you guys, I had fun on my other card with my like topsy-turvy letters. So I did it on this one too. And I think it looks really cute.
I love it. I think it's so fun, Kelly. So I'm going to put my stitched rectangle down flat on the guava cardstock. I'll switch cameras. And then I am going to pop up the guava layer on to the pattern paper, which is this is the new Flower Market pattern paper. So you guys could use the flower side or the diagonal stripe side. It's so sweet. I love it.
Yeah, I love both sides so much. And the stripes are just like such a great basic and the flowers are so cute. And then we have the new gingham paper and it really goes well with the new gingham as well.
It reminds me of some of the older papers that I might still be hoarding some and miss it so
There's
much.
a reason for that. If you recognize those flowers, they come from Daphne's Closet. So if you guys are like,
yeah.
And you remember Daphne's Closet paper, this is from 2012. That's where those little flowers actually came from.
Again, talking and crafting, putting stuff on the wrong panel. Good thing I didn't smack it down.
I know now I'm gonna add my my sparkle glaze.
Oh, fun. I can't wait to see. All right, it's starting to feel like winter again. My hands are like, brr, why is your slider door open in March? I was like so hot before we started this live, you guys. We like from blow drying my hair and I think our heat was on too high. I was like dying. So I've had the slider open the whole time and but now it's starting to get a little chilly. All right. Oh my gosh. I love this card. I'm really proud of myself for the white space on this card because I struggle with keeping some white space sometimes.
So here.
Somebody said, it's nice that your lives are on YouTube. Will you keep doing it? Yes, we will. Now that we've figured out how to do it with the software and stuff, we'll definitely keep streaming them live on Facebook and YouTube.
And some people were asking about the ruler with the center zero. It actually comes with that station. Fawn also has a 0 center ruler that's really awesome as well. So if you don't have the station, we have a ruler that I love because it's got the marks down to the 16ths. It's really great.
Yeah, so it's just like this one here. It has the 0, and then it has all the teeny measurements. And I'll just say the measurements are etched into the plastic. And so I just rubbed some acrylic paint into the grooves, so it'd be easier for me to read the numbers on white paper. So this
I
is
need
like
to
the
try that with mine.
yeah. Oh, I'm surprised you haven't already, Kelly, with your
Well,
glasses.
because I wanted to look like the one that's on the website. So people are like,
yeah.
on the website, whatever color. But that's the cool thing is you can put whatever color paint you want. So I don't know if you guys can see. I'm trying to get it to catch in the light. I add the sparkle to the top of the jars and then also to the flower and the heart too, and then the wings.
Oh my gosh.
I don't have the best lighting in here to show you, but it looks really cute. It's kind of 3D too, which is fun.
I love it. I think it's so cute. Yeah, that's what's neat about the sparkle pen is it is really 3D.
It's just a different, like there's no right or wrong between any of the glitter options. And we have that little glitter pen, which is really subtle glitter. So there's like a lot of glittering options depending on what your favorite is.
So let us know in the comments, you guys. I'm just curious who was creating along with us today. I'm just curious. I feel like I haven't looked up at the comments as much as I normally do. But I was just curious if you guys, and it doesn't matter if you created different cards, like just who was crafting today.
Oh, Callie is.
Yay.
Oh, people are saying, can you say hi to the ladies in Montana? Hi, Patty, Jamie, Darcy, and Lisa. Lots of people. Some people were just coloring. Some people are creating.
Yay.
They just finished their 2 cards, and some people are almost catching up.
Well, we're so happy that all of you joined us today, even if you are just hanging out.
Yeah.
So Kelly, I saw when I was assembling my card, somebody had asked if you could share maybe a little sneak peek about summer, like, I don't know.
Goodness. Well, I talked about earlier that there's a really fun new take on our Simply Celebrate idea that I think you guys are going to love. There's something, if the dad in your life loves a dad joke, then we have something for you too, because it's really funny. I love a terrible pun joke. So if you guys love those, they're going to make you laugh. Oh my goodness, we have some really fun die cut. There's just, there's so many cool things. I'm excited about it. And there's something pool themed as well, which is also one of my favorites. It's just so sweet. And then we're all crafters. So maybe we would want a crafting stamp set. So.
Oh, maybe. I have to say one thing about not traveling and teaching is I've been able to enjoy the summer releases a little bit more because when I was traveling and teaching, it was hard because I wasn't home as much. And then I was diving right into designing with the holiday sets for you guys, especially for the trade shows. So I feel like I get to create more with the summer release.
I know.
Which is my jam because you guys know I love summer. So.
Yes. And so that won't be until all the way in May 19th, because we are going to be celebrating and creating with the current release. It's a big release. So it's a release that lasts over months and months. And so not only do we have another Create With Us on April 8th, which we're really excited about. Jen has 2 amazing classes, which she'll talk about in 1 second. And then we also have an Inspiration Week in March and an Inspiration Week in April, which means more intro videos and more incredible design team cards. And then Jen has 2 awesome classes. So you can tell us about those.
Yeah, I have 2 classes coming up in April. I just couldn't fit anything else in March because I'm hosting a big event next weekend here on Cape Cod in person, Crop on the Cape. But I have Berry Fun and Rain or Shine. So the 2 classes I'll be teaching in April are using similar supplies to what we're using in the Create With Us classes. So it's even more ideas, different coloring guides, different tips and tricks. We are using the platform pop-up in both of those classes. We're going to use platform pop-up in the April Create With Us class, which you guys can see. Oh my God. The handout for this April Create With Us will be available on the Create With Us page on Monday. So you guys can, check early next week and you can download the handout. The coloring guides are there, the prep work. So if you want to create along with us on April 8th, and I would love for you to join my classes in April too.
Yes, and we've got those linked in both Facebook and YouTube to Jen's awesome classes. They're so cool. They're so fun. I mean, you're just going to have a blast. And I love that there's that kind of private community in the Facebook groups as well. So you really get to kind of craft along with some new virtual friends, which is really great.
Yeah, I see a lot of my regulars in my online classes popping in and commenting how much they love those classes. So thank you guys so much. Awesome. Yeah. Did we miss any major questions? I feel like you were doing a great job.
I know I had they were loading up and then I would keep them loading up so I could see, but hopefully I caught everything. But if not, please let us know right now. And I'm like, oh, there's I was like, I want to hold up my finished cards. I feel so proud.
I know, right? I love it.
My mom's going to keep these.
I get double. Like I have the ones I made for the handout, and then now I get another set.
I know. I love when I make stuff for our trade shows, which are virtual now, but then we make them again for the Inspiration Week. I always get 2 of everything, which is really great. Yeah. A couple people saying how much they love your classes and that they say thank you, Kelly, Jen, Mimi, and Miles. I'll share that with Mimi. She's going to be so excited. I'm gonna show her this on how it's on Facebook and YouTube later. She's great. She's good with she texts. She knows how to use her iPhone. So. Oh, look at this. I love this. Dang, I even put these on card bases. #proud moment for reals.
Not me. Everybody knows me by now. Nope. I think I'm going to do a random live on my personal, Facebook page or in YouTube in April. And we're just going to chat and you guys can all keep me company while I put all my cards on card bases.
We've got some requests for kayaks and paddle boards. I'll have to write that one down. That's really fun.
Shari's been saying kayaks for a long time. I'm just saying.
Oh my goodness. We appreciate you guys being with us here and spending time with us and creating with us so much. This is so much fun. And it really feels like we all are together in one room, right? It's just nice to be able to all craft from all around the world and spend time together. So we really, really appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. And remember, if you caught the tail end of this, you'll be able to watch the replay. It'll always be available. We have it linked on the Create With Us page, which you guys can see that web address right in the grass below Kelly and I. And please, please, please share your cards either on Facebook or Instagram. Tag Lawn Fawn, tag me, Jen Shirkus, and use that hashtag #LFCreateWithUs because we love, love, love seeing what you guys are making and just being able to give you like a virtual high five.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's so nice to see what you've made. I love seeing the variations people create on the cards too. It's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh man. Oh, thank you, Darcy, Lisa, and Patty, and Frank. You guys are awesome.
And mark your calendars. April 8th is our next Create With Us. So these free mini classes, Kelly Marie and I plan them around the new releases. And because this spring release was such a big one, we decided to do 2 different classes, but we'll do another one after the summer release and we'll just keep doing it. Everybody seems to like them. So we enjoy doing them with you.
It's awesome. We're so thrilled. And thank you guys so much. We're looking forward to April 8th's class as well. And that information will be at Monday. And then Jen's classes too. And all the people who are lucky enough to be going to the Cape Cod event as well. They get to see you soon.
I know. After this, I'm like hunkered down and focused. We have over 200 people coming. I have so much stuff in our house right now. The sponsors, including Lawn Fawn, were super generous. So attendees are getting so many fun goodies and I can't wait to see everybody. We haven't been able to have the event in person in 2 years. So it'll be nice.
And then I wanted to mention, I was just looking at my calendar to make sure that March 23rd is when the next Inspiration Week starts. And March 23rd is that big giveaway post. So you'll definitely have to check that out on Lawn Fawn's blog and see all the videos and design team cards and get inspired for more of the spring release.
Yeah, so much inspiration. Awesome. Oh, I just love seeing everybody's comments. You guys are the best. You're so sweet.
Thank you so much. Really. Thank you guys. You guys are amazing.
Anything else you want to say, Kelly? Really
just thank you guys. Thank you for crafting with us. It's been such a fun morning and I'm excited to go play with Mimi and Miles next. And we love you guys. Thank you so much for being here.
And be sure
April 8th will be at 4 p.m. Pacific and 7 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, and all of the information is on the all of today's information is on the Create With Us page, and all of the April Create With Us information will be on that page early next week. If you didn't download the handout for today, but you want to get it still, it'll be there, and all of our previous Create With Us's are there. So if you're joining us on YouTube, maybe you weren't able to join us on Facebook, you can still go and download all those handouts. They're a great resource. So awesome. All right, you guys, I think we're going to wrap it up. Thank you, Rebecca and Shari, for answering comments behind the scenes and linking up. We really appreciate it. And I hope you guys all have an awesome rest of your weekend. Bye, guys.